Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have returning guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin. He is the he gives out, man, I was talking to Jamie and Rob just a minute ago before the show. Is like, YouTube, Facebook, they don't like this show so much, but I like Dr. Christopher Macklin. He has a free global healing meditations he does 2 times weekly. He can do one-on-one healings. He gets down and deep into about that, of course, a lot of things. We go down a lot of deep rabbit holes with Dr. Christopher Macklin. His website is www.globalenlightenmentproject.com. You can get more information there. He will be on the show after our World Wide Web of Weird, after our first commercial break. Speaking of the World Wide Web of Weird, man, I had a lot of changes before I did it because, man, there's just a lot of different news stories coming out that I'd like to cover. I don't think YouTube would like me to cover them, but I am going to cover them. So we got a lot of weird to get to, and we will, of course, take your phone calls later in the show. Now, Dr. Christopher Macklin will only be with us, I think, for about 2 hours, so I don't think he's going to be here for a long period of time for phone calls, but we'll let you know. We'll play it by ear, and we might have a shorter show tonight. I don't know. But like I said, our guest is Dr. Christopher Macklin. We got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin, will be joining us after the World Wide Web of Weird, after our first commercial break. Joining me, as always, though, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing well, thank you.
How you been out there in California? Some weirdness and strangeness going on there. I didn't have in the World Wide Web of Weird, but I wanted to say I had an article I keep forgetting to share with you. I got to find it. But there's been some military exercises going around. Where was it? Ohio or somewhere else? Just seemed really similar to what you've been seeing out in California. I gotta find it. I just thought of that. Let me forget. I just saw it somewhere. Also from St. Augustine, Florida. I don't know if they got military exercises going out there. Is Rob Autry himself? How you doing tonight, Rob?
Good. We got math exercises, crackheads. And,
yeah, I think that's happening all over.
Smart people.
I'm in Indiana, man, so
Yeah.
all about that. We do have a Florida half man story tonight. That was horrible to say. Well, you'll see why later. But we do have a lot of weird to get to, so let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I got to start out with this. I swear it's the last time I talk about these stupid Peruvian mummies. But I keep seeing it everywhere, and now people are like, oh, they've CT scanned them. And they're real bodies. They're not put together with animal parts, they said, in all these different articles. I wonder why they said that. Well, these two might not have been, but the like 6 others were. So they grabbed 2 that weren't, but they're still human DNA. It was tested in Canada. We had Steve Mera and Barry Fitzgerald 5 years ago covering this, if anybody remembers. Probably not. I know I'm not a big show. Nobody cares. But anyways, we are a webcast. We stream live out to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for those listening on the Paranormal Radio channel, Talkstream, the Paranormal Soup radio channel there. A lot of paranormal. But yeah, if you want to listen, I'll narrate as best as possible. But we do this time it's just pictures. I don't have any good videos or anything going on like that. But there was a lot of stories, a lot of things, and of course, I almost excluded this because I'm so tired of it. And here, this is the Unexplained Mysteries website. I use a lot of them because they have short articles. I'm not going to even read it. They basically just give the Gaia TV narration about it, you know. I'm so sick of it. I don't know. I didn't get to see Weird Wednesday. I have to get up every day now for the kids' school. I'm usually in bed by that time you guys start. Did you guys talk about this at all last Wednesday?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't. Go ahead.
I still, I don't know. I mean, who's to say? Alien bodies could have human DNA in them.
I know, but these look like they've been manipulated. The actual crime, the thing is, I don't trust the data results either that they're getting from the lab down in Mexico. It was tested in Canada. I believe that's where Barry and Steve had DNA test results sent to. They found one of them, wasn't these 2, actually had weird DNA because they were getting corrupted samples because there was all these different parts from different people put together. These did not, they say, are not put together. But I'm telling you, tell me how something like that walks.
But
like how does something like that really move its arms? Like, does it waddle? That was my point back then. It's not right. I believe the whole thing's fake. And the thing is they used real Peruvian mummies and manipulated them, which is a crime.
And when it comes to unknown DNA, just on a side topic, when I had mine done for the 23andMe my sister did for Christmas, I have unknown DNA that came up in my samples.
Well, it's because you're an alien. That's why. I mean,
Star Child.
You're a star child. You're precious.
Yeah.
I would love. I'm so interested to do one of those DNA tests. I just wish I wasn't so paranoid where I won't do it ever.
Well, I didn't want to, and I only did because
know.
she paid for it.
I know. I would be interested.
My theory is if I'm just saying if these are real, or just if something else is real,
or something special about them,
and somebody puts it out there, who's to say who? The government, the Men in Black, who, whatever. They're going to spin a story and say, "Oh, these aren't real. These are fake. These are."
Well, they are. I mean, a lot of them. The universities involved scientists are calling this out as complete garbage.
Yeah.
And maybe we should listen to these people. Maybe it is all real. I don't know. But thing is, I really like Steve Mera and I really like Barry Fitzgerald, and they put a pretty convincing case on my show 5 years ago. I was convinced. Maybe taking their word for it, but they went all the way down there. They would love to have found something real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they weren't happy to find fakery.
I mean, even with the aliens in the backyard in Vegas, it's like that thing hit hard and nobody really took it serious.
I don't know if we should. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
Yeah, to this day, I don't
compare it to. Like, if it is real, I don't know what a real one looks like. I imagine what it
land of
like,
illusion.
Yeah, you can't trust anything these days.
Trust no one, as X-Files told us.
Yep.
All right, next one. On to more DNA talk here. In the world's first, and like I said, Unexplained Mysteries, I got the short article. In the world's first, scientists succeeded in recovering RNA molecules from a preserved Tasmanian tiger specimen. Officially thought to have gone extinct decades ago, the Thylacine, or Tasmanian tiger, was a distinctive carnivorous marsupial native to Australia, Tasmania, and New Guinea. In more recent years, researchers have been attempting to find a way to effectively bring the species back to life using samples collected from carefully preserved museum specimens. It seems as though the idea of resurrecting the thylacine, if I'm saying that right, has been brought one step closer to reality thanks to a new study which successfully covered RNA molecules from the Tasmanian tiger specimen that has been preserved in a collection at the Swedish Museum of Natural History in Stockholm for 130 years. This enabled the team to sequence the transcriptions of the skin and skeletal muscle tissue, revealing tissue-specific gene expression signatures similar to those of extinct marsupials. This is the first time that we have had a glimpse into the existence of thylacine-specific regulatory genes, such as microRNAs, that go extinct more than 1 century ago, said Mark R. Friedlander, an associate professor of molecular bioscience in Stockholm University. Do you think they should bring it back? Because that's going to be what they're going to talk about. Because they've talked about that. There's a project now. I mean, there's one to bring back the mammoth from the DNA samples they were able to collect from the frozen ones. They're talking about the Tasmanian tiger. I mean, there's a little part of me that loves Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. It's like, yeah, science, woohoo! And the other part that's, the Jeff Goldblum movie character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chaos theory and let's not play God.
I mean, like, do we
That's
really
a Gemini. I'm torn.
woolly mammoths or dinosaurs?
My son would tell you yes.
I mean, it would be awesome. It would be awesome, but I see complete hell and havoc happening.
He would stand in front of his Jurassic Park poster and give you a lengthy deposition on why we should resurrect the dinosaurs, right?
Until the
at least the planet ones, the plant-eating ones.
Yeah, exactly.
We need all the plants.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. More science, right? No? Yeah, more science. More sciencey science. NASA delivers bounty of asteroid samples to Earth. Bennu's rocks could reveal origins of organic and solar system evolution. Most of the small asteroids that enter the Earth's atmosphere end their plunge into the screaming, fiery violence. But today, after detaching from the NASA's ORIS-REx spacecraft, a capsule carrying asteroid samples descended gently back by parachute before touching down in the Utah desert. The cup full of pebbles and a grit in it delivered the accumulation of 7 years of effort and $1 billion of expenses. Is the only third sample on an asteroid ever returned to Earth, and it's the largest haul of extraterrestrial material NASA has collected since the Apollo moon mission. Just cost us $1 billion. I'm good with that billion. We spend a lot of money, billions, on other things I'm not good with. But getting some samples to determine the origin, I'm all for the science, yeah.
Did they really collect samples on the Apollo mission?
Yeah, then you're going to get that argument. I know. It's so depressed. That's so depressing.
You can't believe it.
I feel like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar when they're telling him like we never landed on the moon.
Yep.
He's like, what are you talking about?
That's the way it is now. Every single thing has to be questioned.
Trust no one.
Trust no one.
That's
sad though. I mean, it's so sad.
It is. What have we become?
So I want to yay, NASA. Yeah, I got samples. Let's do some sciencey stuff and discover the origins of it. Because last week we were talking about they're now doubling the estimate of how old the whole universe is or whatever. I'm like, how do you even? I mean, I know science. They got it figured out somehow, but I feel like they're way off for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're in this little speck out there. What they can tell. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Going on to more local science or archaeology, I thought this was interesting. And like I said, we don't know how old the universe is. We talked about last week. We might not know how old the human race is or sentient species that could build structures. Archaeologists in Zambia unearthed oldest wooden structure ever found. Archaeologists in Zambia have unearthed the ancient remains of what is believed the oldest wooden structure ever to be found. The remarkable discovery was made by researchers from the University of Liverpool and Aberystwyth University as they conducted an excavation at the country's Colombo Falls. To the astonishment, the team found a pair of well-preserved logs which were joined together by the way of notches crafted using stone tools. The rudimentary structure, which they theorized could have been the base of a platform or house, is thought to be an astounding 476,000 years old.
Dang.
Now, what have you been told about how long the human race has been around?
Yeah.
I mean, Samaria, that's 15,000 years ago, right? 20.
Well,
You know, and then you get into the Stone Age, 100,000, 200,000 years, and they weren't supposed to be doing that kind of stuff, right? Should their analysis be correct, the joined logs would constitute the oldest known evidence of our distant ancestors crafting wood to create a structure which upends previous thinking about human evolution. Forget the label Stone Age. Look at what these people were doing. They made something new and large from wood. Marveled the University of Liverpool's Larry Barham. They used their intelligence, imagination, skills to create something they'd never seen before, something that had never previously existed. Beyond the ingenuity on display by way of the two logs, the researchers also note that the discovery calls into question previous assumptions regarding ancient humans may have lived. To that end, they observe that the current thinking regarding of human ancestors is that they were nomadic in nature. However, the ancient wooden structure would seem to suggest that they may have actually settled in locations. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of, hey, why would you be a nomad if you found a good water hole, no real opposing threats, plentiful food? You'd stay.
Probably so.
So I don't think they were all nomadic, and they probably set down settlements. But I'm just saying, who knows what was here 500,000 years ago?
Yeah.
It'd be dust. Look, these logs are fossilized. They're old.
Yeah. I saw George Carlin the other day talking about, how old the Earth was and all the floods and all the ice ages and this and that. And how are we going to screw it up with some tin cans and some garbage?
Oh, George Carlin.
Yep.
Well, humans will find a way.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. There's evidence of nuclear explosions that have happened.
Yeah.
Places that were turned to glass, in the deserts. And I just think we have no clue about not only the universe, obviously, but how long we've been here, ancient history. I mean, even the dinosaurs, I think is a really lot of guessing.
Yep.
What we know about them, and it's only what was fossilized. There's so many species that went to dust that didn't get fossilized.
Yeah.
That we never will know that existed here. They say only 3% of life is left. Like 96% of the life that's been on this earth has gone extinct. All right, let's move on. We're getting deep into that. Speaking about, we want to bring dinosaurs back. We got plenty of alligators in Florida. This is the half-part Florida person. I don't know. Passersby see horrific sighting in Largo, Florida. Alligator with lifeless body in its mouth. A 13-foot alligator was spotted with a lifeless body in its mouth on Friday in Ridge Creek Park in Largo, Florida. How far is Largo from you? You know where it is?
That's South Florida, so it's a ways, but...
Yeah. A witness spotted the huge gator in a canal in Largo neighborhood and reported to the fire department located 400 feet away from the gator, as well as called 911. I was on my way to the job interview, and I always look into the lake for fish and stuff, and I spotted a gator. I noticed it had a body in its mouth, like a lower torso. So once I saw that, I ran straight to the fire department and got them. They confirmed it was a body. John Marcus Bullard, one of the witnesses, said, according to Fox 13 Tampa. I thought it was fake. This was my first time seeing a gator in real life as well. So I was just like, it was pretty cool. But once I saw what it had, it was like, is that a mannequin body? It looked like it was pale and white. The tragic event happened in close proximity to the Head Start and a Boys and Girls Club. All I keep thinking of is all these little kids that go to school right behind me, and they come this way every single day, Bullard said. I'm going to get my bike or start catching the bus to work. They don't have any gates or anything like that. They have small little gates, but somebody died. Or did somebody dump a body there?
Yeah, it was one or the other. Somebody was down there messing around.
Somebody's got to be missing. Somebody's hopefully missing them and reported them.
I saw that on the news. Yeah. The guy was like, I got to be careful around here. I got to get me a bike or something.
Yeah. Just pedal fast. And during the summer 2022, a 47-year-old man looking for frisbees and other discs in the water, Taylor Lake, part of 153-acre St. John's Largo, was killed by an alligator.
Yep.
Yeah.
For disc golf disc.
I just recently saw a video that was viral of people like in a lake somewhere, and they were all getting out of the water because there was an alligator in the lake.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. You ask how far Largo is from here, and, it's South Florida. I'm in North Florida. It doesn't really matter because there's alligators in every bit of Florida.
Yep,
whether
and
it's
snakes.
North or south. Yeah, snakes, alligators, bugs that'll bite you.
All right, let's move on before we run out of time. I saw this. Now cops in New York can say they took our job. No. Robot to help patrol Times Square subway station. Mayor Eric Adams and New York PD officials have announced plans for a robot that will soon patrol Times Square subway station. The K5 autonomous security robot. You know, Doctor Who had K9. Why don't you just keep the K out of there, man? Don't associate with that. K9s don't like the cops, man. K5 autonomous security robot is equipped with cameras that send live video and other intelligence back to the police department. It will soon be patrolling the Times Square 42nd Street station, assisted by police officers. You know, and the one thing is it doesn't have audio mics because why? Because it can't record people. Can't just record people. They're allowed to have cameras though, but you can't record audio. So what it's going to have is cameras, you know, that they can monitor. And people are being under attack in the subway station. Wonder why that's happening in New York, huh?
Yeah.
And they can go to this they can go to this robot and go, K5, save me. And they can, you know, send a signal to the police department and cops will be there and I don't know when. and K5's going to get the crap kicked out of him. They're going to find him tipped over.
Yeah.
But then they just get a better robot. And then the next thing you know, he looks like, dang it, now my brain slipped. The robot from RoboCop. It's like, put your weapon down, you know. And what is that called? Like totally, my sci-fi brain's really sad right now that I can't remember the name of that stupid robot. Yeah. Oh, damn, no, I can't.
That's what it's gonna be.
You know that is. I mean, I've said that how long on this show? I've said it a billion times that the whole defund the police, all that stuff is going to lead to higher crime, and then their solution's just going to be like RoboCop's solution, and they're going to start putting robots on the street. Here we are. They got the robot dogs. They got the robot turd thing. There he is.
ED209.
ED209. Jesus, it's killing me. Erectile dysfunction 209.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what we're going to be faced. Just beat the crap out of K5 because his replacement will eventually be that. And then he's just going to tell you to put the gun down. And you're like, I don't have a gun. He's just going to go, put down the weapon and
Yep.
You know, it can't be accused of being racist because it's a robot.
Yeah.
It's programmed to follow the law, you know. I mean, I think it's more possibility seeing a robot like that than like RoboCop, where they you know resurrect some poor mutilated cop. There's a lot of legal problems with that, I would think. But an autonomous robot like that could shoot you just by a glitch in its system, yeah, sure.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Reply. Yeah, there you go. See, I'm bad at movie quotes. My friends have always made fun of me. Like, yeah, I'm a geek. I know I could tell you about a movie. You can name a scene, and I'd be like, I know that movie. But can I tell you the dialogue? That's why I was never an actor. I cannot do lines. I'm horrible at it. I just have the nice little clips to play. I had ED 209 clip once saying that. I can never play it again because they like struck it.
Ah.
Yeah. And then this last article I saw pop up right before the show tonight, and I was like, should I talk about this? I mean, the show's going to be demonetized anyways, mine as well, because there is a stipulation by YouTube. You can't talk bad about Ukraine. I'm not. I'm actually going to say what they should do here if they want public support, or what they shouldn't do. Next up, last article. Zelensky cast Satanist Mariana Abramovic, I never get her name right, I've talked about her a bunch of times on the show, to be Ukrainian ambassador. Go ahead. I hope you can show the picture if people are not familiar with this woman.
Trying to get there.
Yeah. We've talked about it on the show. You know, all power to her. She has a religion. It's Satanism. It's cool. That not to me it is, but it's cool. You know, we live in a country. Somebody can practice their open religion. Maybe even become an ambassador. But for Ukrainians' sake, you're losing support. Why would you do this? In the middle of a never-ending war, the Russian-Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has asked Serbian, Jesus, I cannot read tonight, Serbian Satanist Mariana Abramovic, I could always butcher it, to become an ambassador for the war-torn country, as reported by the UK Telegraph. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Why?
She looks so
I want the war to end. You know, and Ukrainian people to stop dying. That's what I want. That's all I can say. Whatever. Keep politics aside. I just want people to stop dying. Why would you do this?
Yeah, why?
I mean, I don't think people should be judged on their religions for their positions, but when you go this far as she goes as a stunt show, even if it's just all show, it's just best to go be a little professional. Pick somebody that's some seriousness in a serious situation, and not go with somebody who is a provocateur, to be the nicest way to put it.
Maybe she is serious.
Well, that is some of the claims. I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know her. Maybe it's all just a show like Alice Cooper or whatever. I'm willing to give that. Whatever. I'm not Alex Jones here. I don't care. To know who she is or what she does. If there's proof, criminal proof of anything she's done, please bring it forward. But she could be just a shock provocateur, artist, whatever. I'm willing to abide by that. But why would you pick this person as your ambassador?
I know. I mean, seriously.
The open, blatant, like, ha ha ha, Satanist thing. I am not a Christian. I don't. I'd really go, ooh, dear. Must be Satan. On everything. But at the same time, this is a serious situation going on.
There's an underlying thing going on between spirituality and religion all over the place right now. There's a site I follow, Moon Omens. She's wonderful. She's very accurate. My smaller pages get shadow ban flagged for hate speech, misinformation on like these positive, anything to do with spirituality type things. Well, the larger ones are now being targeted, saying that they do not comply with the guidelines and community standards. She's always accurate. She talks about moon phases.
Oh, that don't matter. It doesn't matter.
So what they're doing is they're going around and they're taking away anything that has to do with the Bible and religion and trying to make it like illegal or bad, just like the flag. They're taking away anything that has to do with spirituality and all that. Why, I don't know, but it's a trend I'm seeing across all platforms all over the place.
But yeah, this lady become an ambassador.
Drop your religion. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Drop your religion. We got that's it for the World Wide Web of Weird. That's enough to get us in trouble tonight. But our guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin, is awesome, and will get us in plenty more trouble, I'm sure, tonight with YouTube. But we're going to go to our commercial break, and we'll be back with Dr. Christopher Macklin. His website is globalenlightenmentproject.com. He gives free global healings twice weekly. You can see him, I know, on YouTube and all that, but you go to his website to get more information and also one-on-one healings. We're going to get we go to a lot of deep, dark rabbit holes and some great positive ones too with Dr. Christopher Macklin tonight when we come back from the short commercial break.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, Contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS Ranger.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, we are honored to welcome back Dr. Christopher Macklin. Born as a highly aware psychic child in Chester, England, Christopher Macklin was able to perceive energy fields, spirit activity, and multidimensional phenomenon from a very young age, to meditate for hours a day for 4 years in order to integrate his highest path and to understand the divine healing that he was being called to share with the world. Understanding of how those toxins break down the body, immune system, and leads to catastrophic consequences. His extremely exemplary research findings are culled from scientific evidence, intuitive information, and divine connection, which makes him highly respected speaker, lecturer, and medical consultant worldwide. Christopher Macklin serves an international client base, helping thousands of people rebalance and heal from various physical, mental, and emotional issues. His client testimonials serve as an ample proof in understanding the life of changing experiences he's able to facilitate. He and his wife Amanda, have founded the Global Enlightenment Project to serve in awakening humanity to support the healing needs of people all over the earth. You can get more info by going to globalenlightenmentproject.com. Today, Christopher is an internationally known energy healer who specializes in healing people from all forms of illnesses, emotional, physical, especially those created from ET technologies such as Morgellons, Lyme disease, and etc. He has developed his own protocol for removing them from the body. Dr. Macklin treats emotional disorders including addictions, chronic depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. The whole person and their whole life are treated. Therefore, relationships with families and loved ones can also be repaired and restored. It's an honor to have him back on, Dr. Christopher Macklin, tonight. We will take your phone calls later in the show. We only have them for a couple hours, I think, but let's get to our guest. All right, let me get him to the stream. How you doing tonight, Dr. Macklin?
There we go. I'm wonderful. How are you, Jason? Bless your heart.
It's an honor to have you back on the show, so thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thanks for having me. Bless your heart. Especially in these times, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, did you? I saw you come in at the end of my World Wide Web of Weird. You see that, what I was talking about?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? We're already screwed by YouTube, so don't worry. But don't go crazy on it. You know what I mean? We talk about it. Lord Voldemort, he cannot be named. His name's Bill Gates, and he controls you.
Yeah.
Shh, be quiet.
Yeah. You can spell it B dot dash. You know, you have to overtake the AI. You know.
Can you maybe you have your mic from your computer? Is that where your mic is?
No, I've got a professional one here.
Oh, if you move maybe a little closer to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Or move closer to it. Yeah.
Bless your heart. Okay. Is that better?
Yes, that is definitely better. Just want to make sure people can hear you tonight. So, yeah, we got into some of this last time. There's a lot of things we got into, I think, last time. We've been talking about disclosure, how it's not really disclosure. I've always said the reason is because it's all so complicated. There's no way they could disclose any of that. They wouldn't even know where to begin.
No, they wouldn't actually. And I think the thing is, yeah, where do you begin? And the answer is, who knows? You know, I mean, are people ready for it? You know, it's a very interesting world at the moment because I think all this disclosure, you know, we've been doing this work for years, but you know, there's still people new at it, and you know, sort of introduce the idea of DTs and things like this. You know, it's kind of what, you know. I mean, my father still thinks we're the only species in the universe, and well, that's a little bit egotistical. I mean, look how many.
But he's not alone in that thought. I mean,
I know he's not. You know, yeah, and he's not. I mean, he's 89, so is he going to change his thought patterns or his narrative? Let me just think. Oh, that would be a no. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is interesting to see it become. It's opening up the conversation. Is the only thing I'll give it good credit for. Is getting more of the general public to waking up to the idea and not just think it is some kook fantasy of others, that there is some legitimacy. But you notice how they totally stay away from alien abduction. You know, they don't get deep into the rabbit hole at all. They very skim the surface and like, oh, we have these incredible footage and radar and these testimonials from military people. And you know, let's not talk about anything else. Let's not get into the alien abduction phenomenon, you know, because that is not where they want it to go.
No, I mean, if people found out that, you know, a deal's been done and they could abduct people and the government will sign a contract to abduct your citizens, you know, for technology, I don't think they'd be that impressed. But, you know, it's amazing.
I think the last time we had you on, you had said that, was it you? Because I apologize if I'm wrong, but that said that the Greys had stopped the abduction program for a while.
Yeah, I chaired the Galactic Federation along with two other McKisley beings. It's
McKisley beings. That's the word I was trying to remember.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I've got to apologise. The last few years have just like slipped by. You don't know which date you did it, but I think it was in 2018, 19. We had a meeting. They took us off, and you know, we were talking about violation education, and this is a really important point. You know, you come down here and the veil's supposed to close off. Of course, for the last 80 years, the veil between the third and the fifth dimension is getting smaller. So when people are born, of course, their soul is bringing all past life stuff. You know, before no one ever talked about past life. It's just, you know, they were just. But But what's happened is, your fertilized egg becomes a fetus. Just saying you need a womb to fertilize an egg, just remind everybody, because it's a crazy world.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the soul comes through. You've got 3 months to get a soul in. So when it bonds into the fetus, it's bringing all the past life stuff in motion. It's bringing all cellular memory. And when it bonds to the fetus, it actually goes within the fetus. And, if you had your hand chopped off, you're probably going to get pain in the wrist. And the emotion transfers into the body. And so, everyone's suffering. The problem is now you're not just dealing with this lifetime. If that's not enough, you're dealing with all the past life stuff. So I get people phoning up, well, why is my 2-year-old so anxiety-ridden? They've only been here for 2 years. Well, it's all the trauma from the past.
Right. Well, I'm going through that as a parent right now. I feel like, because I have a 7-year-old that's going to therapy and has issues, and there's a lot of past life stuff. It's probably too long to get into with him. And we wonder, is the depression a 7-year-old's having, shouldn't be something past life related. We're doing the seek medical professional help and all that, but sometimes I wonder, if that's it from just the stuff.
A lot of these third dimensional, it depends what profession you have. I mean, I work a lot with psychiatrists, psychologists, and psychotherapists a lot, because there's an element they don't understand, of course, anti-attachment. Yeah. I mean, when you're born, you come out of the vaginal opening, the curtain's open, there's the IRS, here's your invoice. And then it kind of goes downhill from there. So, oh my goodness. But I did an interview last week, and it's interesting because it's really important to realize that if your child doesn't fit in, that's okay. I've never fitted in anywhere. I didn't fit
neither.
in corporate.
I did not.
I didn't fit in school. You would think, we work on 2,000 people a week, and people say, God, you must have a load of friends. Now, let me think. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 friends, and that's it, Now, the reason for that is because you do so much work. And, honestly, Jason, years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, it was a breeze. Now it's exhausting because people are, get psychosis. They're wondering what the heck's going on. He's trying to keep them balanced. So it's not an easy thing to do now. And so,
is that why you're doing the 2 weekly free meditations a week too, to kind of help with that?
Well, I did them 3 times, and I've cut it down to 2. But
2, yeah.
The healings is basically an hour healing. It covers most things. It's by donation. If you want to make a donation, great. If you don't, because I've been there when I had absolutely no money, and I know what it's like not to have 1 cent. And so it's important as a non-for-profit to be able to put your work out there, and everyone gets a healing. That's one of my commitments.
That's all. I think it's awesome that you do it. Now, before we get deep, there's a lot of things to get deep in. One of the reasons I brought up the whole ET theme right off the bat is last week we had abductee Michael Cameron on, and he had said that they had stopped, the program had stopped, but now it had restarted. And I thought of you. I was like, wasn't it? I knew you were coming on the following week, and I'm like, isn't that the conversation we had that he said they stopped? And he said
they've stopped. They're banned from this space-time continuum in the third dimensional world. And so what they've done, these beings are really crafty. So what they do now is come back in portals and mess with people in a portal. If you're in a portal, you're in a different time, same space.
Like you're on an embassy grounds,
Yeah, so you're a different vibration within the portal. So they're now, after a while, they obviously use their mind. Oh, let's go through portals and let's start messing with people. The abductions aren't happening, but they are really messing with people. And you can always tell when you've got a portal around it, because if you walk in a room and there's a portal open, it smells like gone off drain, because these things sadly don't have good hygiene. They don't wash, and so they smell like gone off drain. So I've had the plumber and in my bathroom, and there's nothing. What is it? I said, it's a portal. These things don't wash, I said, next time tell them, look, if you come into my house, for heaven's sake, take a shower before you come in.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, that the smell.
Oh,
they smell. Yeah. I mean, you think about, talk about Bigfoot smells. I think Dogman. I don't know. I think Dogman's. Josh Turner, you're in the chat room. If Dogman has a smell, some of these entities. I swear, sometimes the sulfuric smell or the rotten egg smell, this kind of thing, it could be an effect of literally something coming into our universe from another dimension.
It is, yeah, and absolutely, and of course.
I mean, besides the fact that they're bad hygiene. You know what I'm saying? There could be a combination of that, I wonder, because the similarity between all these different beings and the smell.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you get,
also they're a different vibration being, so you might pick up on the vibration. I have a very heightened sense of smell. If
me too.
sometimes I walk in a park, and if a dog poos about 200 or 300 yards away,
Yeah.
what's that smell? And you see the dog like 300 yards away. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
also with food, when you go out with food, if somebody who's been on drugs creates the food, I can smell the chemicals in it. Oh, wow, I can't eat that. So we don't go out anymore. Because of the hypersensitivity. So,
Well, they're putting drugs in your food anyway, so.
well, yeah. Well, we buy Amish beef, so we've not got a problem with the Amish, bless them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, they're building our house, which is only 20 minutes away. I've got to share with you, that's been an amazing experience. I wouldn't want to be Amish because I want electric, I want a toilet, and I want good
civilized humanity, right?
But everything else, their whole way of working is just like, they're really community orientated. I honor them for that. I really do.
It's one big family, and people that care for each other. Hopefully, and they're not caught up on Instagram or in drama or watching reality shows. They're living the probably better life than most of us.
Yeah, well, we live a kind of Amish life. We're completely detached. I don't watch any news. I don't go on, games. I don't go on Facebook, YouTube. I pay people to do that. I just focus on the healings, and I focus on, the house we're building. It's on 42 acres of woodland. So, when you go down there, it's amazing because you sit there, you can feel the trees absorb you, and you think, wow, and you just get so relaxed.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
That's why I don't like big cities. Like, I thought when I was younger, I was gonna like the big city. Like, I went to my first college was in Chicago, and I was so excited, and it only took like a day for me to be over it. I was like, I don't ever want to live here. I don't want to live here. Nope.
I can't be in big city. I couldn't live in an apartment. I went to New York. The first time I ever went to New York is to speak at an expo. I got off the plane. What on earth is this? Because you could feel the yin yang, energy. And I was
and the smell,
okay.
the smell,
yeah.
The smell.
The smell. You walk up the street, all you can smell is poo, wee, and puke. And that's about it.
Yeah.
What a pleasant.
That's I couldn't do. I took my son. I remember my son was younger. We had to go to a field trip in Chicago, and he's sensory disorder, and man, it was rough. Like his first real big city like that, and yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. Like I can tell, like all of his senses are getting bombarded in this. I'm like, how do kids make it?
Yeah, but Jason,
if
he's sensory disorder, it means he's very different. I mean, I adopted Bella. I married Mandy 5 years ago. I adopted a daughter, Bella, and she's
I love that name.
And she's actually coming around. But sometimes she finds it hard to regulate herself. Like if a dog barks, she starts biting her hand. I don't. That's okay. Now if she drops something, she's got severe OCD. She'll start biting her hand, and so OCD. We're now doing laughing therapy where, oh look, you've dropped something, it's okay. So she releases that emotion by laughing. So we're working.
Luckily he's not severe. He's not too severe, but it's enough that makes him slightly. I have two sons that have their challenges, and I know are different than a lot of kids. But at the same time, I see more and more of these disorders in kids caused by, we can't say, Lord Voldemort is listening. The one who shall not be named.
Yeah. Well, I think also, am I on the spectrum? Let me see. Probably. I've got OCD. I've got ADD because, I'm in the ethers all day. My wife will not let me drive for at least an hour when I finish looking at stuff. You go about viewing, and then you get back here, you're not concentrating at all. I mean, there's different.
Don't drive and have an out-of-body experience at the same time. It's not recommended.
Well, she made me sell my motorbike, which is disappointing because it was an Indian, what's it called, a Roadmaster. Beautiful bike. Loved it. No, you're not having it. Got to get rid of it. I lost $10,000 on it because it was new in 2019, so that was sad. But she's right, because I remember having an experience where you're driving your bike and suddenly you go in the ethers and then you get back. Wow, the whole bike shakes. You think, wow,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not worth it.
It's just not if you've seen what happens to somebody when they have a motorcycle accident, which it's not pretty. Yeah, I would. Yeah, my wife. See, I was the one that shot my wife down. She wanted a motorcycle, and I'm like, no. Like, no.
Absolutely.
No, not at all. So let's get into the refresher on. And I know I butcher this every time, so I apologize. Ecclesiac being you're one. If I remember, like one of 5 on this planet. Melchizedek. Let's say that right.
Melchizedek, yeah.
Melchizedek.
Those beings were responsible for creating the Akashic records. They did some creation after Prime created third dimension world with animals and different things. They work very closely with the Actorians, or we do. At the moment we're doing the Pyramid Project. If you want to bring that up later, with the Actorians from the 12th dimension, which is really, to me, it's key. I mean, at the moment, people are giving their power away to politics and, all this sort of thing. I know you guys are talking about religion. If I may bring a point up, it was really interesting. I had something on Facebook and it said, well, there's normal yoga and then there's Christian yoga. I said, okay. And this woman was saying, well, I tried Christian yoga and then all the demonic attacked me and And I was going, well, yeah, you're starting to open up, you're getting your energy, and of course they want to shut you down. And she said, well, it was so bad, I got the Lord into my life. Now I'm okay. I think, oh, okay, so you've given up.
That sounds like Christian yoga. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yoga's yoga, Yogananda,
Yeah, but with Christian yoga, you get the demonic experience,
Well, yeah, because, what you're doing is going from Christianity because you're shut down, and then you go and do yoga, you start to wake up. You piss all the beings off because oh my God, you're waking up. So they attack you like crazy. It's like a spiritual battle. And they were getting like the wrong thing. They weren't realizing that actually you're doing a great thing, because if you're being attacked, then, you're doing something right, and you've got to battle it until you get your vibration way above them, and then you're good to go. But, that was really interesting.
Well, when I was 18, I was attacked by something dark, shadow entity. And that's when I think I was starting to wake up, I mean, I had experiences as a child, but like you go through your teenage years and you kind of write all that stuff off. And I started to rediscover it at that point. And that's when I got attacked. I stuck my nose somewhere I shouldn't have, but, but I think it was attracted to me and my two friends because we were all kind of like having this little kind of like spiritual awakening.
Well, yeah, and when you have a spiritual awakening, they can see, because they can see energy start to increase and, we've got to shut them down. So they attack you. I see it so many times. People get attacked badly, even assaulted by, raped by these beings. It's crazy, but at the same time, you have to learn to manage them and keep them out. The power of maps of intent, I don't know the word prayer, but maps of intent can keep them out whilst you're growing your vibration, whilst you're releasing emotion. So, as starseed people, we ingest so much emotion. It's like these starseed kids, they don't fit in, and so why even bother sending them to school? Teach them to read and write, but why not actually homeschool them and give them something they enjoy? Who wants to learn calculus or quadratic equations?
I would love to give my kids homeschool. Me and my wife have to work jobs to pay the bills.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying, I mean, or get a community school where different people, the problem with schools, the indoctrination.
They don't go to public school. We'll just say that.
No. But I wouldn't want kids to learn the indoctrination of all this stuff that's happening now. It's just nuts, So I want them to have a passion for something. Right, if you know that, if it's growing food, that's the thing about going back to the Amish. They have life skills that most people don't have. They can grow food. They can grow their meat. They can process meat. They could do everything, build.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. If things went to crap, the people are going to be probably just all right. It'll be the Amish.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bless their hearts.
Yeah, they'll be watching people, from a distance as the cities burn out in their, their Amish fields and farms and going, chewing on their straw, going, that was coming.
Absolutely, it's amazing.
I would love. I'm all for the Thomas Massey. I don't like politics, but he's one of the few I like. Is trying to get the Prime Act going in America, where you can buy more locally direct from farmers and like the Amish and people to get your meat and get get actually like vegetables, organic, grown in your neighborhood, not processed and shipped across the country to you or from a foreign country even. We need that. We need more local growers. We are trying to do our gardening. The second, we did it 2 years now, and not so great. We're getting better. We'll get better.
We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better. We'll get better That's
Well,
definitely
it's
the way it needs to go, though, is keeping it small, keeping it local, support your local farmers, and try to avoid these, big.
I've stopped eating pork because of how bad that industry's gotten. Smith and Fields has just taken over the entire industry of it.
Chinese owned,
I
yeah.
like bacon too, but I just after seeing how like they do these hog farms now is so disgusting. I'm like, okay, I start drawing the line on the bacon. As much as I love bacon.
We're buying a hog from the Amish. Well, that's okay. You know,
That's
but you have
great,
to buy the
though.
whole
But
thing.
that's great. That's great. If I could buy one from the Amish, I'll eat it. But I'm just saying, if you see what they're doing, like to the environment
it's
with
awful.
this, and the just the human cruelty, the way that they're, and it used to not be that way. You had all these these farms, local farmers that were hog farmers. They got pushed out of the market.
Yeah, and it's really sad, I mean, it's like Gates now, You mentioned Gates. Oh, so maybe we shouldn't.
No, he shall not be named. Shh.
Yeah. The weirdo. Let's call him a weirdo. So he's invented a vaccine, the anti-fart vaccine.
Oh, you also said the other thing. You can't say, right? But
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
the
yeah,
anti-fart one. That the
the
anti-fart jab.
anti-fart dance, yeah.
For real?
Poke.
Yeah,
yes.
honestly. And they're testing it in Ireland. And do you know what? I was on with a father.
I saw that.
But, I was on with him and he goes, well, we've got this global warming thing. Oh, okay. So what's that? What's causing it? He goes, well, cows passing wind. I said, so you're telling me cows farting is creating global warming? He goes, yeah. I said,
Not your private jet you're flying around in. Okay.
We fixed it in America. He goes, how did you fix it? I said, well, we give them tum-tums that settles the stomach, no farting. Game over, we're good. He goes, wow, I'm going to write to the Prime Minister. So it's so laughable. It's just a joke.
Yeah,
But,
I'm very
did
concerned.
start putting the diapers on the cows for a while.
Yes, they did do that. Yes, that's how silly it's gotten. At the same time, like when their private jet will burn more fossil fuels and pollute the environment than I will, in one flight than my car will ever do.
Oh yeah,
in its lifetime.
Some of the politicians were going to something, climate change thing, and they went in their cars, got so far, and got these electric bikes, and it's just a joke. The whole thing.
And it's
I don't
the
believe
sad
in
thing that it
politics.
is. The sad thing is because it's become political, and we do these stupid false things to help the environment. The environment is suffering. We are doing horrible things to this planet. We're doing horrible things to this planet.
Process.
I'm not. I don't think the current climate change theory is right. But I do think we are doing horrible things to this planet, and we do need to clean things up, or we are going to really be paying for it if we don't.
Well, my biggest thing is nanotechnology. We're spewing the planet with nanotech. And it's affecting food, everything. So it's what it is.
Gene technology, nanotechnology. These are the new nuclear weapon. You know what I'm saying? These are the new cat out of the bag. Nuclear power could be used as a weapon or used to power. Like this. These things could be used to heal, but they're going to be used to subjugate and keep people ill. Yeah. Oh, and once it's out of the bag, that's it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the Greys gave us this technology, and of course, DARPA's manufactured them, so they could do some incredible things with it. It's incredible. But like you say, in the hands of darkness, they're not so good. In the hands of the light, they can do some amazing things. It depends the yin and yang. So,
and just think, my wife read this conspiracy theory or this video she showed me of how they have all the street lights all over now. They're like that purple. And I remember seeing like in our local newspaper or whatever saying it was a mistake. It was they ordered the wrong light bulbs, but yet they did it all over the country, and not just our country, other countries. Somebody made a really bad order for the whole world. Like all these different countries have these lights now, and then this theory is that they are using these street cameras with special filters or whatever with that light to see genome editing happening in your skin. Like it'll show up under this filter. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the nanotech, people don't understand it, and people think, it's graphene. It's not. There's a whole slew of instruments bound to it, and the problem with virologists is, it takes them way outside the box. How do you bind nylons, graphene, plant material, Borrelia, which is a stealth pathogen, Lyme disease. All these things are bound to it, and but they've been taught like this, this is the way it is. So you can't bind those things, and it grows. Nylon grows. You think, well, a shirt is nylon 9. How do you make that grow? Well, if you bind it with the right elements in the right molecular structure, the stuff can grow through your body. So it's
like
crazy.
Morgellons.
Yeah,
that Morgellons frightens the hell out of me.
Well, I've dealt with so many people.
I bet.
We have a protocol. I mean, Morgellons is, I think, the worst disease on the planet. But of course, the
poor people suffering it.
The Kool-Aid that people have taken have all the Morgellons particles in it. So it's the same thing. But the thing is about it is, it's sprayed in the air. People say, well, why don't I get Morgellons? Because if you're immune, immune RNA, DNA is robust against it. It stays in its place. If you damage the DNA, therefore RNA, therefore immune system, then it's going to replicate. How do you damage the DNA? Well, the latest technology is called CRISPR technology, where it delivers a particle into the cell and it splices genetics and damages the DNA. So it's
cat's already crazy. Out of the bag.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's running wild.
Oh yeah.
That's the problem. That's the scariest thing. One of the scariest novels Stephen King ever wrote was The Stand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that and there's a reason. Is because we either blow ourselves up with nukes or we create some monstrous disease, virus, whatever that could take everybody out or enslave us. I mean, nanotechnology. I've always said if there was going to be like a zombie like plague, it'd be caused by nanotechnology. It just seems like something.
Here's the deal. So we've also got nanospheres. So in nanospheres, what can you do? You can load up to, it's like having a big football, but 10 to the minus 9 small. So you drill 92 holes. It's got an antenna in the center, and different frequencies open different holes. So if you load 92 viruses, one of them is called the Marburg virus. Have you ever heard of that?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
Marburg, yeah. What it does is it actually attacks the cerebral cortex and shuts the brain down, destroys it. So if they've got this stuff, and I believe they have, then all you have to do is fire a frequency from the 5G things, and this will be released, attacks the brain. Then they're in trouble.
And Stephen King wrote another novel called Cell, that basically, in some way, sounds like that. Because it's a signal that comes through the cell phones.
Oh, well, it is. And people say, in these tests, shut your cell phone off. But it's coming from the tower. It's nothing to do with your cell phone. It's transmitted to the tower. So if you switch your phone off, who cares,
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing your phone's going to do
They
is...
do have that test coming up. They have that test coming up. I forget.
It's the 4th of October or something.
Yeah. My wife's freaking out about that.
Well, people say, switch your phone off, put it in a Faraday cage, whatever, why bother? The towers are all around, the frequencies are going to go through your body, so it's not going to make any difference, So, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I've worked with some really top people, virologists, world-leading industrial toxicologist. The woman's a genius, and that's how I learned about this stuff. Because, if you come across Morgellons, it's tricky stuff. It acts like a fungus. It grows in the body, but it's not a fungus. It's nanotechnology. And so, to me, you can't heal something if you really don't understand what it can do and its ability. And it took me a few years to develop this protocol to strip it out, but it does strip all the, the Kool-Aid out, or, Morgellons, Lyme, the whole lot, so.
Kool-Aid, that'll be our nickname for it.
Yeah, Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's the blue type, Kool-Aid.
Yeah. It's so freaky to me. I think about, I swear they hint to these things in fiction, X-Files had a lot of that in their number of their seasons about the aliens were trying to change us genetically, human hybrid programs. Is any of that related to what they're doing? Are they trying to change us genetically for some ultimate dark purpose?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the thing is, when people have had Morgellons, I've had a lot of people, when they've had Morgellons, they experience like a dual life. What's that mean? Well, some of these particles are kind of interdimensional. Some of them have got a metallic structure produced by the Greys. They can switch to the 4th dimension, so they kind of feel half in this world and half elsewhere. It's a weird phenomenon, and that's why I had to look for a solution that locked them down so they couldn't hide. Because what was happening with Morgellons originally is I was applying space-time continuum or tacking energy. It broke the molecular structure of the particles down, but if they switch in a different dimension, they're not there, so they're not getting affected by it. So I had to find some way, and I was racking my brains, and then one day, this Morgellons lady, she goes, oh my God, I put the Akashic records, the stuff went nuts. It lit up, it was like, it had fear, almost, because these particles are alive. They're biologically alive, but they're dead because they've got no soul. And so this stuff lit up, and I was thinking, oh, it doesn't like the Akashic records, so let's have a look. So I meditate on it. I thought, well, if we split someone's timeline in two, and because, this is a gift from the Culled stuff, but you split their timeline in two, and they go on a path of divine alignment, complete wellness, where all the stuff is out of the body. And this is a simplistic thing. On the other timeline to the sun, if you strip out the particles and lock them on a timeline to the sun, if they're on that timeline, if they're hiding in the fourth dimension, when they come back, they're still locked on that timeline, so they can't get off it. And that was the solution. It took me a long time to figure that one out.
Yeah, it hurts my brain whenever I have a guest on that gets into the, even though I'm totally fascinated by it, when they get into the, like, split your quantum timeline and heal yourself and become the timeline where you don't have it. And, like, but what about the other timeline? And, like, oh my God, my brain hurts. It's like time travel.
Absolutely. It's very true.
I'm totally fascinated by it, but it makes my brain hurt. But that's pretty much like a big part of your healing is that you do put people, like, basically you try to, like, move them into you bring in the timeline of where they are healed or they have no disease. That's a simplistic way of looking at it.
Timeline, no disease, where all the stuff is out of the body. And on the other timeline, the split, all the stuff is separated out of the body. So what happens over a period of time, as time moves forward and the timelines keep splitting, the stuff actually, is stripped out of the body at a rate that their body can take it. Because people often say, well, why don't you just do it instantly? The problem is with all these particles and, beryllium, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange, is that if you do it too quick, you get die-off. And the die-off can be some, they're neurotoxins. They can really damage you. So they have to do it at the rate that your body can absorb it. Plus the fact that, and this is a fact that people don't realize, these particles grow through your tissue. They become part of your tissue. And that's what we call transhuman. So if they become part of your tissue, if you just, people say, why don't you just detox these things out? You can't, because it's part of you, And so
your body's growing
out, you bleed out. Yeah. It's growing into your tissue. It's becoming part of you. So they have to separate it out very carefully at the rate that your body can manage it. Really interesting point.
Sounds like the like having the teleporter in Star Trek, where you mix up put them in the molecular buffer, and you got to remove the alien DNA that ended up in there, and Spock's gonna come out like all, if you don't.
Absolutely.
How do they separate it out, though?
I have a God ritual. It's a gift, and we separate it out by so. If you had Morgellons, what we do is the first day we split your timeline in two, and so we put you on a path of divine alignment, complete wellness. What does divine alignment mean? Well, it means like a God path, where, to me, the God path is service to others, using your gifts, everything else. So if you get on that timeline, you're closest to God. As time goes on, you strip this stuff out, and it just keeps separating. So all the particles and the toxins and everything else are stuck on the timeline to the sun, and you're on a timeline to divine alignment, complete wellness, where all the particles are out your body. So as it keeps separating over a period of about 10 weeks, it separates out the body. It's incredible. But then that's not the only thing with the protocol. If you don't repair the DNA that's damaged, particles are Borrelia, Morgellons particles, they're in the air, they're all over the place. So you just get it back. So what we do is we start a DNA change. Now, the first cell where life began is in the sacral point. So what they do is repair the chromosomes, connect all the helices together, and reset the DNA of that cell back to the blueprint. And then the cells around it. So that takes about 10 weeks because you've got billions of cells in your body. And then when it's reset to your robust state, you will never get Morgellons again, as long as you don't eat GMO foods or drink purple Kool-Aid.
Don't live in America.
Yeah. Or
we have the best FDA our money didn't buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, literally, we have an FDA that they are failing their job majorly when it comes to our food, with what ends up in our food compared to other countries. They're failing horribly.
It's unbelievable. I mean, Jason, you kind of, I mean, people said, look, there must be something that's not hijacked. I'm going, now, hang on a minute. Oh, that'd be everything. Everything, even the schools, the teachings, if you go get a degree, that's all hijacked. If you want to be a psychotherapist, that's all hijacked. Doctors, you look at everything. Everything's been hijacked. Money, religion, religion's hijacked. I know you guys were talking about religion before, and it's all. The thing is about the reptilian agenda or the Archon agenda is that there's always three truths, one lie. So if you have a channeling with somebody, say they're channeling reptilian, they say, right, Jason, yeah, you're going to be doing a podcast. Oh, well, you got that right. And you're going to be doing this and that. What, you got that right? And then you're going to go to France next year and buy a house with a pink roof, green doors, and white walls. Okay. And because they've got those two things right, you're probably going to get on the plane and go to France, and you will find that house. Because there's going to be some crazy person who's painted that color. So they always give you, three truths, one lie. So and they take you off the path of divine alignment, and that's where people don't use discernment. I mean, I always teach people, day of the guru's gone. There's no gurus. You are your own guru. You have to take your power back and be able to discern, like listening to anything, like the news or, podcast, whatever. If it's not resonating, we don't listen to it. If it's resonating, then that's great, but the only person who knows your truth is you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I hear you. I mean, there's a lot of people out there are, selling a lot out there.
Yeah.
And including our government. And like I said, when it comes to like what we're being bombarded with, like you said, they've co-opted everything. And food is some of the scariest to me. The way they are just constantly, you look at any ingredients of your stuff, and you have bioengineered, and and can you even trust if it's actually non-GMO? Like one part of it might be non-GMO, but they threw in all this other stuff, but they could label it non-GMO.
It can be the same exact oatmeal from here, UK, Australia, Quaker oats, everything the same. Except ours has all the added corn products, the sugars, the dyes, the preservatives. There's no reason to put all that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we always get this brand called Red Mills? It's organic, really good stuff. I always look for organic. I only buy meat. The Amish meat is amazing, because we went to the store one day and I thought, we didn't have any fillets, and I thought, let's have a fillet tonight. So we bought these two fillets, like $18, whatever they were, bought them home. Looked great, wow, I cooked them, we ate them, and we both had an absolute lead bullet, in the stomach.
Yep.
Wow, it's not going down. Something wrong with it. Now, when you eat the Amish meat, I've never had that, And we import things like we do, and this is really important for people to listen to, but look for really good products, especially, we make spaghetti bolognese. We get a sauce from Italy, and the tomatoes aren't acidic. So when you eat it, you feel great. If I eat cheap brands here, about half an hour later, oh my God, I've got acid reflux, blah, So I think it's really important to really select your food. And the Amish meat, of course, I mean, it tastes like heaven. It's like buttery meat. It's not even, you think, you might get some from a store like a farm. The Amish meat is like heaven. It really is. And so we just keep buying it, I'm getting another freezer.
They also respect their livestock. You know what I'm saying? They don't put them in horrible conditions and brutalize them and then murder them in a horrible, unhumane way.
No, they love them, and I think they do prayers with them. I mean, it's interesting because if you think about a slaughterhouse, say you got 100 cattle all in a row, and the next one goes in, they sense like they're being slaughtered. They'll know, and they'll get.
And then you're consuming it.
Yeah, you're consuming that energy. Well, that's it. Endorphins, everything else, the energy around the meat. It's terrible. Well, if you bless the cow and then you just do one at a time, you're not mass producing. It's totally different. It really is. I'm
Yeah.
hypersensitive to meat. That's why I think I sit well with the Amish meat because it's really good.
I've been eating a lot less of it. Not that I've gone vegetarian, I haven't, but I've cut back on it big time. Just because I hate the industry as it is, and I would love to see more local butchers and shops. It's hard, there's some, and we're looking at, but to know that it came from a local butcher and not like from a mass industry, it's hard to find, and it shouldn't be. It should be more relevant and more ready for people and local communities. The problem is because they want us more compact. They want us push us into these cities. Why are they buying up all these housing property? And rural urban areas. They're trying to own it and get you out.
Oh yeah, they're trying to buy a house and rent it back to you. So it's just Vanguard, BlackRock.
Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, all of those, and they're all really one big entity. And you've heard the thing about the 15-minute cities. They want you to all live in these like 15-minute cities, and they're death traps. And you have basically this is what I fear is going to come. They're going to destitute everybody so bad. They're going to destitute everybody so bad that they're going to offer universal basic income. Come live in these 15-minute cities in this digital world. We control your life and everything you do. We're going to make sure you're totally taken care of. Basically, you'll own the whole WEF, Carl Schwab, Bond villain. You'll own nothing and be happy scenario.
That's exactly it. What's interesting? The fires that we're smelling down here right now are from the Portland border fires. So for the heck of it, I looked it up. Does Oregon want to be a smart city? Sure enough, Portland wants to be America's most prominent smart city. Most of these fires burning right now are in very spots where they're talking a lot about wanting to have these.
I've actually had nightmares about this. Maybe it's from watching too many Black Mirror episodes. I don't know. But where I'm in one of these smart cities, and I absolutely hate it and terrified.
I'd never.
I'm looking how to escape, but they're like technologically like sci-fi futuristic, but I want out. It's like Logan's Run or something.
Wanted to put them up as like corporation cities. They've had some cities like that.
What RoboCop? I keep saying like RoboCop becomes more relevant every day. We were talking about in our World Wide Web of Weird how they have this robot named K5 now in New York for the subways, and I'm like, right now that thing just looks like a big white turd kind of thing that roams around with a camera. and after a number of people beat the crap out of it and destroy it, then the next one's going to look like ED-209, erectile dysfunction 209 robot from RoboCop, and it's going to have big guns on it. You know what I'm saying? We're heading there.
One last thing on that, they're pushing the electric vehicles on us, which we see all over the place.
Yeah.
Working out, our infrastructure can't handle it. Now, when we're stuck in these 15-minute cities, or people are not going to be able to afford these vehicles,
right?
That just
it'll all be public.
Stay, within your 15-minute limit. Then you don't have to go out.
You don't even own your car, so you have no choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a hot tub time machine too. They go to the future. And in it, they have these AI-driven smart vehicles. They might kill you, but nobody owns a car. They're like, "Wait, nobody owns a car?" I just call on my my Uber AI, whatever, and it comes and picks me up and takes me wherever I want to go. Right? So convenient.
Yeah,
no
not
freedom.
I mean, it's like the cars. I mean, these batteries are so volatile; they're spontaneous.
I know the lithium. Well, they just found a big lithium mine. They just found a big lithium mine in America. Was it Oregon or somewhere like that?
Yeah, but the daft thing is we've got technology. Tesla created technology to have from the ethers, with these coils, you could actually harness enough power to power your whole house. So, I think when the transition happens, I believe the transition happens. People give their power away to all the politicians, and I'm not saying Trump's doing a bad job or a good job. I think he's a transitionalist. But my personal opinion is everyone's given their power away. Like, oh, we need someone to save us.
Yeah.
Like with Jesus or Trump or somebody. You got to stop that,
It's got to be a movement of people.
It's got a movement of people.
Yeah, it's got to be a populist movement.
Oh, yeah. We the people are going to save America. Now, I believe that when this transition happens, I think they're going to dissolve the government I believe is what I see, is they're going to dissolve government and put it back to the states, put But even the states, they're all corrupt as well. So
Yeah.
you've got to get these people out.
A lot of house to clean. I'd start with
Oh,
the CIA, FBI, NSA, FDA. They'd all be gone.
There's
And
a
be
lot of
replaced new
states-
agencies.
There's a lot of states already going ahead and doing that on different issues. They're saying, forget this, what they're saying, we're going to go ahead.
Do our
and
own thing.
Ourselves, yeah. When it came to the unconstitutional ban, yeah, on the concealed carry, and then something else in another state where they just straight said, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to push it.
Yeah. Yeah, we need some kind of revolution, but like I said, it isn't going to be some political savior. It has to be a movement of people to really do it.
Yeah, you got to wake enough people up that we're done with this. It's like the
problem is I don't see I see more people awakening. I do, but I see a mass movement on any political spectrum side. It doesn't matter what you identify as, but I see so much divisiveness between both sides, attacking your fellow citizens when you should be banding together to take down the whole
it's all
establishment.
separation. You got LGBTQ, you got Black Lives Matter, you got religion. I mean, how many factions of Christianity we got? About, I don't know, 80. Who knows? And it's ridiculous. Well, I'm a Christian. Okay, which faction? Oh well, I don't cavort with them because they're Baptist and so. I mean, this is all separation.
You know what they are? They're a fellow human being, and if you're American,
Exactly.
your fellow American citizen. You might not agree on everything. You might not have the same religion, but we can come on some very simple principles. Principles we can come together on: love, respect for others. Do unto others as you wish to be done on you. No judgment, and you live your life, I live mine. But let's work together to keep both of us free to do
Our
that.
flag has become a symbol of hate.
I know, yeah. Isn't it incredible?
How many people died for that flag?
Yeah. Well, it's a small amount. It's a small amount of people trying to push their agenda. It'll all change.
Yeah, and they all look like Bond villains.
Unless they're censored to make it appear that they have a larger voice than they do.
Well, I just like how obvious can it be? I mean, Carl Schwab looks like a Bond villain. I mean, he sounds like a Bond villain. He tells you what he's going to do that are Bond villainy things, like out loud. He's even been complaining lately about the pushback. Oh
yeah.
I mean, his father was a Nazi. I mean, I mean, the sins of the father I won't judge upon the son, but he's saying very Nazi-like things. Like the guy, has a ton of power, and then you have all these other Bond villain people. I mean, they all should be doing $1 million and putting their finger up to their mouth. I mean, that's how corny it is. It's like, what? How did I end up on this timeline? what did I do? I'm sorry.
I've heard so many people say, "Well, I think God dropped me off the wrong planet." No, it's okay, But I'm encouraging people to really focus on their personal space. Your personal timeline. Get people who love you. Cook some nice food, and in fact, I don't know about you guys, but I found food. I don't eat that much at the moment. You think, well, what do I want for dinner? Nothing sounds good. And even with the Amish food, I just. Sometimes you just have a bit of oatmeal or something because I just don't feel like anything. And I'm 6'5", and I eat like tiny portion once a day. You think?
Yeah, I don't eat a lot either.
I used to eat a plate and a half of food. Now I can't eat it because it's like too much. But of
I've
course,
done
my body's
intermittent
changing.
fasting too. I've done intermittent fasting too. I think helps. Because at this point, it's like living in America. I hear from my European friends, they come over here, eat this stuff, and they're like, feel like they're going to die. It's like, so I'm just going to eat very little as much, try to find the most healthiest stuff and just not eat a ton of it because it's hard to even trust it anymore, the way it's gotten. Like I said, how did I end up on this damn timeline? I went on the timeline where we got local farms, you could buy this stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking. I think there's a change.
I don't think it is.
I think
people have had enough. But I think it's got
that.
so bad. Yeah, I think people have had enough. I don't want to buy all this crap. Let's go to farmers markets where people have grown it. And we go to farmers markets, and like I say, we've got a canning system. I've never done canning in my life before, but I've got this pressure cooker and this can of things. So I've got this book, so okay, well, let's have a go.
But you know, I do see more of that.
Canning. That's something I wanted to learn this summer, and I didn't pick it up.
Canning, same here. My sister-in-law has started, and I got some cans. We got to get our garden going better before we can can. My sister-in-law is like way ahead of us on that. We're trying to get our butts together. Next summer, we're gonna really go at it and try to get a good amount of crops going that we can actually can and have, like my grandparents used to do. We got to get back to these things because you can't go in your grocery store and trust 90% of what's in there anymore.
Even
No. Well, I actually think it's important to get a greenhouse. We're going to get a 30 by 15 greenhouse.
Yeah.
With that size, they do a polycarbonate. It's about $8,000. You can grow anything in it because it's double insulated. So even in the winter, if you have a little, paraffin heater or something to keep it warm, you can grow anything in it all year long. So,
I'm not a very handy man, as my wife would point out. But when I was a young kid, my grandfather and me, with my two other cousins, built a greenhouse for my grandmother. It took many years for that greenhouse to actually get finished, but it did. It was a small one, but I'm like, I have an idea. I think I could do it. It wasn't that complicated. Get some wood and you can get the right materials. You can build your own dang greenhouse,
Yeah,
but first I got to get just good at gardening.
I'm not handy either. I'm not handy at all. But the Amish guys who are building the house are, so they can just put up a greenhouse.
Yeah, I don't have $8,000. I just got these two hands and encouraging help from others.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to go to our commercial break and come back, open up the phone lines with our guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin. We're going to continue talking on these subjects and not mention that should be not named. When we come back, this episode's probably already screwed by multiple social media platforms, but that's all right. We didn't come here to, skirt around it that bad. We're going to get into stuff that they don't like. I don't care. Whatever. Screw it. Open up, call in, join this conversation tonight. Have you had any of these diseases we're talking about, or have any advice you want from Dr. Christopher Macklin tonight? Maybe he can help you. And get in contact with him on his globalenlightenmentproject.com website. He does one-on-one readings. He does 2 weekly meditations, streams that you can definitely check out. I definitely recommend. When we come back from the short commercial break, we'll open up the phone lines. You can join this conversation.
Conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, Follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine, and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
Wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
Accept the fact that this city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID 00JBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Dr. Christopher Macklin. He is his website is theglobalenlightenmentproject.com. He does free global healing meditations 2 times weekly. You can do one-on-one healings. You can check out and get your information there at theglobalenlightenmentproject.com. He's our guest tonight, returning guest. We've had him on before, and like I said, thou hell should not be named. Bill Gates, Lord Voldemort. They're listening. They don't like what we talk about when we have them on, but that's why I love having them on. Screw them. Because, he's so fascinating. He's helping people. He's giving, out there trying to heal people that are actually suffering out there. And more power to him for that. Like I said, globalenlightenmentproject.com is his website. Phone lines are now open. You can call in, join this conversation. You got a question for our guest tonight, please call in. But let's go ahead and get right back to it. All right, phone lines are open. Let me get the banner rolling up there, and let me get the guests back on. Welcome back, Christopher. Now, for the audience, we have about an hour left. We're going to cut the show probably about half an hour early tonight. Christopher only has about an hour left, and I have to get up and take a car into the mechanic early in the morning, so that's going to be fun.
Oh, gosh.
Jump me in the timeline where that doesn't cost me anything. They're like, everything's perfectly fine, just need new brakes.
Absolutely.
But seriously, on what you're doing, trying to help people out there, like with the weekly meditations, the one-on-one healings, and all that, there's people out there that are dealing with stuff that, they wouldn't even go to a psychologist or a doctor for, like abductees that you're helping, for one. There are many people they can turn to for kind of help. For somebody who feels they're being taken, and now you say they're being taken in a portal, what is your advice for them?
Well, I think you have to get regrounded. I think when they come back, for some time, some people remember it straight away, like, oh, I was there. And some people, it's like in the subconscious. So they don't remember it for like 8 years. And then suddenly snippets come flooding back. And that's a kind of bit of a problem. So I think, we have to learn because, if you think about it, what's the difference between violation and education? So to me, education, we come down here. Is it a violation? No. Why is that? Because they've told us what's going to happen before. They give you an overview of the planet Earth. There's reptilians, there's this, there's that, And so when you come here, you have to learn to actually manage these things through the power of yourself, which is maps of intent. But what happens if a species comes here and says, right, I'm going to sign with your government that we can steal bodies, take them to our ship, take out sperm and eggs, and then put you back? That is a complete and utter violation. And and sometimes what they do is they fertilize the women. They're pregnant for something like 4 to 6 weeks, and then they abduct them again and take the baby out, because it's grown enough. And they say, wow, I'm sure it's pregnant now. I'm not. I don't know what's happening. And it gives people psychosis. So, you probably need some help to actually release the emotion of that and, process the trauma, because there's a lot of trauma involved. I remember one lady, I went to a house, she was in Florida, and she'd just been abducted. She felt like she's raped. Her wound was really sore. Anyway, I did some work on it. We worked with the scar tissue, released the emotion, and she was in tears. And then she felt she got her power back. The whole point about this is, people say, well, woe is me, I was abducted. But, the whole point about this, to me, every single lesson you have in life is there for growth. It doesn't matter how hard is it. I mean, I've had some hard lessons. I've been without food. I went completely bankrupt. Marriage split up, this and that. It was 2 days after I was born, I had strokes, 8 strokes, believe it or not. And I'm surprised I'm still here. I was in hospital for a year. And then 2 years later, when I was 4, or 3 years later when I was 4, I burnt my back so bad in hospital again for a year. And I had big abandonment issues. But all these things, I've also had, 289 times I've tried to wipe me out. One of them I went to India and went to McLeod where the Dalai Lama is. I didn't ever meet him because, we all know what agencies he's involved with. But anyway, I never met him, but, I wanted to go out there, and I went to the Punjab region and had a great time, beautiful people. I got to the northern camp, the Tibetan northern camp in Delhi, where all the Tibetans are, and I got this massive thing, change your ticket. Don't leave, tomorrow. Why? Change your ticket. Why? Just change your ticket. I'll change my ticket. So I didn't have any money at that time, and so I was scratching around for £70, $100. Anyway, I got the money, changed the ticket. You know what happened on the morning? The aircraft never took off. It went to the end of the runway, exploded, and killed everyone on board. God. And I thought, oh, was that meant for me? And I go, well, yeah. Why do you think? So I blessed everyone. Helped them over the other side, everything else. And then I thought, wow, these guys are serious. And other things have happened as well, many things. So it shows you that, there's certain people they want to really try and take out. 289 times is enough. But, but people live in fear. Oh my God, they're going to come and get me. Well, you're just manifesting that. If you get to a place where you have this absolute power, like, you know what, God's got my back, I'm infinitely protected. And
if it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah, everyone's got their time. But if someone tries and interferes, like, an agency or something else, if you have absolute faith, you're infinitely protected. What does that mean? They can't even think about it. But it's like if someone points a gun at you, and this is an extreme. Someone points a gun at you, and they're squeezing the trigger. You can commit suicide by, oh my God, I'm going to die. You just manifested your death. Or you can turn around and say, do you know what? That gun cannot touch me, full stop. If you really believe that, what will happen is the universe will create a new reality, like the gun gets jammed, or the guy passes out because he had a heart attack, or there's
you do the Neo Matrix thing where you're like,
yeah, where you got a barrier around you and they shoot it, but they will create a new reality if you have absolute faith. But you think about on this planet, how many people have that absolute faith? And I would say virtually nobody. Virtually
I can't say I do. I believe in the possibility, but I'm one of those people that He questions everything, even that.
Well, I've got the faith, and I could do
Yeah.
it because now they don't even touch you. For the last, I would say, 6-7 years, nothing's ever happened. I know we're watched, by the FBI and people like that, because we have contacts really high because of this pyramid project. I've got a top, military guy, a top banking people, and I remember one day I felt someone's watching us, and he phoned up, checked out. Yeah, they're watching you. They want to check you're not a cult or da da da. Anyway, he said, wait 7 days, I'll check in. And yeah, they were happy, but they watch you. They really do. So it's crazy.
Well, I think they do. I mean, they keep an eye on so many different people in America, that I think they anything that's out of their going against major industries out there. Yeah. I think that's been going on for a long time. But what I'm going to say is let's talk about this pyramid project you got going on before we run out of time tonight. Can you tell people what that's about?
Yeah, what we're doing is, if you think about the vibration of the planet, it's pretty precarious right now. It's yin and yang and everything else.
Right.
But it's also got a lot of satanic symbology over the ley lines that block the actual energy flow around the planet. And so what we're doing is creating 3 pyramids. One's 999.99 feet tall, 666.66 feet tall, and don't forget about the other, the satanic stuff. This is multiples of 3, which is Christ consciousness. And then you've got 333.333 feet tall that goes on forever. So they're building off planet with Moldavite, ancient technology, and we don't have enough Moldavite to build these here because Moldavite comes from our planet. So they're building those, and we've got to place them down here probably, again, in the next year and a half. It's going to require 100,000 acres. So we've got the top banking people. This is out of my league. We're talking about probably $200 billion. I don't seem to have it. But we have people involved who have the faith, who are at the top of these banking systems. Of course, they're dipping the toe in the dark water. People say, well, you can't take dark money. Why not? Because it's like going on a bus. If you can go on a bus and switch one light off, you can take dark money and turn it into light. To me, you've won. So they're taking care of that. I have nothing to do with that. And once we've done it, we'll have 100,000 acres. We're going to build a small city. It'll have meditation gardens. It'll have an arena where you can do teachings. It'll have everything. Its own fire department, police department. It's going to be a sovereign nation. So it'll be under the Native American. It's going to be amazing.
You have the ATF, the FBI. If you're doing this in America, I'm telling you, buddy, they're really like, yep, they're on a list now. You try to start your own cyber nation, your own little place.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is the people involved are at the top of the military. So we're talking about kind of Trump level, generals and things like this. So it's been approved, but of course, could you do it right now with the current administration? The answer is, oh, no, not. So it'll be done at the right time. It's got to be done under a regime who understand why we're doing it. Because it's to turn the planet around. And the main reason. So think about this. All the reptilians underneath the planet. You got draconians, Anunnaki. These things eat children. They're evil. There's stuff going on. Luciferians. They're all low vibrational beings. But how do you get them off the planet? Well, if you raise the vibration of the planet to a level where they can't exist, they're going to either have to leave or they'll perish. So it's going to there's no karma involved with it because it's their choice. All we're doing is helping raise the vibration of the planet. So these pyramids are really powerful. So it's an interesting project.
They've built pyramids, I know, like in Russia and like modern day pyramids and they've documented like actual physical changes in people with these, and there is an effect from the structure. It's really interesting, and there's a reason they did it. Thousands and thousands of years ago, people decided to build pyramids not just in Egypt. All over the world.
Oh, they did, but a lot of the pyramids weren't built here. They came off planet. Like the Giza pyramids were built by the Palladians, and they were transferred down here. So a lot of them, people say, well, we don't have the technology. Well, we don't. It's built by off-planet beings who have the technology and have the ability. So yeah, and it's the same with these ones. So it's going to be interesting.
We do have a phone call here. Who do we get on the line?
Hey, it's me, Josh Turner. From
Hey, Josh.
Paranormal Roundtable. What's going on, Jason? As usual, good show, good guest. Jamie, how you doing? You guys are always spot on. And I just wanted to call in because I was listening to your guest, and everything he's saying is like incredible. And it was so weird. I was at a restaurant last night, and he said star seeds. And we were at a restaurant called Star Seeds, and literally the waitress was talking about having communicated with the Arcturians.
Right.
So I thought that was so weird. It's such a coincidence. And then I was doing my live stream tonight. We had a few hundred people there, or whatever, and then we were getting it going, and then the power went out. And we were talking about chupacabras as opposed to these crawlers, like the rake crawler, whatever. And I thought it was interesting that I come home and I'm kind of bummed, because there was a real bad storm. And then I turned you guys on, and it was a treat to get to catch you guys. I usually get to just catch the tail end. And you guys are talking, and your guest, what's his name? What is your name?
Chris Macklin. We run the global
Chris.
This is Josh Turner from Paranormal Roundtable. He has a great show. You should have him on.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Definitely.
Good.
We need to get you on the live stream and maybe record too. I recorded with Jason, and when Jason was talking about what he saw when he was younger, like he went in depth on it on my show. And some weird stuff happened too while we were recording.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know what happened. It was the only time in my whole career of doing this. Jason was talking, and I just was sitting there, and like, I don't know what happened. I never told you the whole story, Jason, but like, I was staring at the screen, and it just kind of like started to vibrate. Like it was kind of, and then the next thing you know, it was like I was unconscious for like a second, and then Jason was
it was
like,
longer than a
"Okay?"
second.
And then, oh no, I'm saying like for me, it was like a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went like real fast, but then it was like you were like, "Are you okay?" And then I'm like, I was waking up or something. Never happened to me before, but it was when Jason was talking about that experience he had. I mean, it was really weird. Like, and it was like I had this like little, like a mini dream or something. You know what I mean? Like this whole scenario like played out while I was unconscious. It was so weird, and it's never happened to me before. But it was just, I thought it was so.
I put him to sleep, is what I thought. Like, I'm that boring.
Anesthesiologist.
But I mean, I've never had that vivid of a dream, during a micro nap or whatever. But
My wife does it to me all the time, Josh. I mean, she passes out on me in full conversations all the time, so it wouldn't be abnormal.
Well, half the time, well, sometimes what happens is that, if they want to teach you something the other side, sometimes you get so tired you can't even keep your eyes open, and it's time. Just go lie down. You'll be gone for about 20 minutes. Sometimes you don't remember what they're teaching you because there's no time there. You can do like 2 years worth of work in 20 minutes because there's no time. Then when you come back, you feel refreshed, like, wow, okay, what was that about? And what they're doing is taking you over the side because they need to teach you and give you some downloads. And then suddenly, about maybe 2 or 3 days later, you'll suddenly, wow, I know this. How did I know that? And it's obviously they're giving you downloads. I mean, of course, you can get tired, but a lot of stuff now, because they have to upgrade us, because they have to educate us, because they have to download you, they're taking you, and you can tell because you're so tired, you can't keep your eyes open. And that's where they're
He was fully talking to me, though. He didn't seem tired at all. And next thing you know, he was gone.
Oh, yeah, but it's like that. Suddenly, you're just like, wow, gone. Yeah. It's that quick. It's amazing.
What you guys were saying about the food, too, what I think it is, too, like, I think a lot of this, like, we're trying to transcend. We're trying to be more enlightened. And we're trying to have, for me, a personal relationship with God. But it's like something inhibits it. And I think the food that we eat, and what you were saying, Jason, about people from Europe, like one of my friends, she's an Olympic medalist. She grew up in East Germany. She's now got a fitness and nutrition store here in Austin. She's had for years. And we talk about how she just can't stomach the food here. It makes her sick. And she's got an autoimmune disease, so she has to eat real healthy. And she has to order a lot of stuff from overseas because here what the FDA allows you to eat is just completely banned in like 100 countries.
Yeah.
But here it's like, oh, okay, you can eat lead chips, you can eat, there's some pesticides and what they don't give a crap. And it's like it's so open, like they can poison you. And I think they have a vested interest in not only disrupting our mental state and our physical well-being, but it challenges you spiritually. You can't it's just the food that we eat is literally garbage. And I think that you were saying, Jason, fasting, that's why, the yogis and the priests and everybody back in the day, fasting was a big part of it. And they had to do that because they were able to connect with God, the God consciousness, a lot easier by just eating correctly and taking breaks from eating. But it's even more so now because what we're eating is deliberately being used as poison, spiritually. It's
I think that's a good point.
High fructose corn syrup is banned in Europe, and I know that. And corn syrup, you can't get that. You have to put sugar and stuff. But here, it's in everything. It's just crazy.
Everything.
But and like you were saying, Jason, if you go and buy like organic food, you can't guarantee because people are lying in the industry. So they'll just think, oh well, let's just throw the lettuce in, we'll get double the money for it, and we're good to go. And it's non-organic. So it's interesting because our food prayer, or map of intent. I knew a medicine man. He was in Pennsylvania on a Native American reservation, and I did some work with him. He was blown away by it. And he said, "Look, I love this prayer. The food prayer, because what it does is it removes any godlike particles, optimizes the vibration and nutritional value of the food, and blesses the souls of the animals and plants that created the nutrition." It's a whole map of intent, and he loved it so much he actually translated it and gave it to the reservation to say, before they ate their food. And I felt really honored by that, because of that connection. You know what I mean? It was great.
Yeah, I think that you should come on the show. I think that we would have a great conversation, just like you're having here with Jason. I mean, Jason is, to me, one of the best, honestly, really unsung heroes.
He's a rock star.
Not
really.
This should be your full-time job, Jason. You got a great voice. You talk with a lot of wisdom beyond your years.
Shameless plug. Support us on Patreon. I have 7. Thank you to my 7 Patreons. You help pay the bills.
But I think the other thing as well, it's relaxed. You enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like us all just sitting by the fire, having a glass of beer, having a chat. I think they're more authentic. Instead of stage. Some people stage theirs. And I think,
no judgment on people that do the podcast and they have like the pre-scripted questions. It's how they roll. I just can't. I can't do it. I have to have a conversation.
Yeah, the discussion is better.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes people say, which questions you want? And I always just go with, let's just go with the flow, because the shows always go in the direction they're meant to go that night. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why me and Josh have very similar shows, because we're both like that. We're not like pre-scripted questions. It's a conversation. That's why me and Josh, got along too, because we have got lots of we have a lot of long conversation. I think after you passed out, like that, it wasn't shown that you weren't tired. We talked for like another hour.
Oh yeah, and it was weird, and I look back on that because what you were talking about, like I was dreaming, like I had this weird, I don't know, I'll tell you about it off air one day, but it's a discussion for us, but it was just a weird situation. I've never had anything happen. The only other time I ever felt like that was when I was doing Tony Merkel's show, and something really weird happened. And it was right before I did the show with you, and he recorded like an entire hour. And then I just felt really drained after talking, and then none of it recorded. And he was like, that's never happened. Like nothing I said was recorded. Wow. So then we did it again. And the second go around, I just repeated everything almost verbatim. And he was kind of shocked because I do have a pretty much like a photographic memory when you tap into it. Now, it's not like some people think you record everything you see. That's not true. You kind of have to like focus, and then I can remember just about everything. And I just picked up where we left off. But I'm gonna let you guys take care of business, man. But Christopher, it was good talking to you, and I definitely would
Oh,
like to
thanks,
have you
Josh.
on.
Yeah.
And
If you get off Jason, just email our
let me know
PR
on the
person.
subject.
Yeah, I'll give you the PR contact, Josh.
Yeah. Well, I got you on the air, though, both of you guys. I'm doing a UAP project. I announced it at my conference about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we had a UAP panel, even though it was a Dogman Cryptid conference. Christopher, I actually do a lot of research on this creature called Dogman, and it's led to all kinds of other avenues. But that UAP project, I definitely want to invite you, Jason, to be a part of that, because it's going to be something between me, Christopher Jordan, Daniel Jones, Nick Redfern, Chris James, and Rosales. And so we're going to be doing some interviews and some, interacting with one another through Zoom calls and going over some abduction
Oh, I'd
cases.
love to.
Yeah, and I think you'd be a good fit for that. And let me know, because I like what you're talking about. I like what you're saying. That's just weird, though. It caught my attention when you were talking about the Arcturians, because the waitress last night at Starseed, that's a restaurant here in Austin, 24/7. She was
about the
talking about
Arcturians.
communication. Yeah, it's so weird, man.
I've been accused of being one. So.
Well, I mean, the Arcturians, really quickly, the Arcturians are supposedly like a peaceful civilization that when people make contact, it's really like a peaceful thing, as opposed to like some of the other, civilizations where there's like a lot of not peacefulness, like the reptilians, you get a lot, and then the mantis and all this other stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a conversation we could have together. It was good talking to you guys, gentlemen, and Jamie. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, Josh, real quick, another guest to check out that I had several weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, was Vivian Chevet. She claims to be a Arcturian hybrid. Check that episode out.
Oh, well, that's what I wondered about the lady last night. My wife said that. She was like, she looks like she's a hybrid and probably doesn't know it.
Yeah, this
And
one
so-
knew it. Vivian knows it.
Yeah.
So you should check out that episode. It's really
Because
interesting
they'll
stuff.
Yeah. There's and then the question, I think James Fatke, he's a listener of my show too. I saw him and I saw King of Echo Mundo. Those guys are both listeners of the show. Shout out to those guys. They're paratroopers. But James was asking a question about the difference between Archons and Arcturians. Very quickly, Archons are considered like creators of the universe. Like they're actually kind of like on the level of Anunnaki, fallen, very similar to fallen.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then if you look them up, you'll see that they are actually considered to be rulers, and each one has like a representation of a planet. And then you can just go on and on and on. But that's the difference. The Arcturians are actually from like a star system. Two different things. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because James had mentioned that. So,
Yeah, no, definitely good point. Thank you, Josh.
Oh,
all right,
thanks,
I'll
Joe.
see you guys.
Bless your heart.
All right, bye.
It's Josh Turner from Paranormal Roundtable. Check it out. He's got it on YouTube, Facebook. It streams out a number of other things. A bigger audience than me. But he's like, you should have a big audience. I'm like, yeah, I do Sunday nights live. It's probably the worst time to do it, but it's the only time you have when you work a job and you got two kids. You got to make sure you're in bed and quiet. And it's the only time I have guaranteed off. So I know it's not the best time frame, but I like late night. I'm an Art Bell fan. I grew up on Art Bell, so I like late night talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's great though. You definitely, I'll give him your PR contact. You definitely should go on his show. Paranormal Roundtable is a great show. Jamie's been on it too.
That's great. Yeah, I'd love to. Bless him.
But all these topics, like he was talking about Dogman. They're getting the cryptid thing and Dogman and all that. Do you think they're? I believe all of it's connected. That's why I call the show Paranormal Soup. I think it's one big soup of things all connected in some way. But what is the connection between like Dogman, these kind of cryptid encounters that most of the time seem like they're from another dimension?
Well, there's a lot of different beings, and if you look at, I mean the benevolent ones, the good guys, you've got like the Kizlet beings, Arcturians, Palladians, most of them. Lemurians, Atlanteans, Andromedans. There's so many different races who are helping us, but of course you've got the opposite ones where they're here to manipulate, and even Lyrans, the cat people, and Dogman. You've got Anunnaki, Draconians. You've got Luciferians. You've got archons, like Josh said. I mean, archons to me, they have no body, and that's why one of the big archon agendas here is to drink the Kool-Aid, damage the DNA. If you damage your DNA, your soul lifts out of your body because it's not compatible with the light body of the DNA. So then it
Become like a
allows
zombie?
things to slip in. Well, yeah. And if you look, if people drink the Kool-Aid, their personality changes. They're kind of half checked out but aggressive. And then, what happens is archons slip into the body and they can't do anything about it. It's riding around, operating the body, taking it over, basically. And that was the archon agenda. They wanted a body to be able to inhabit so they can, do a lot more things in this third dimensional world. So it's interesting, the archon covenant.
Well, isn't that what would be like the hybrid program would be about, is to eventually make soulless bodies they could overtake?
Oh, yeah. And also transhuman bodies where the nanotech starts growing through the body.
They can live forever.
What's transhuman?
That's what the billionaires are looking for. I kicked that out of the World Wide Web Weird tonight, but there was an article by Times Magazine about a billionaire doing like this whole regiment. Like, he does everything the doctors tell him. He eats everything that they say. He wears like a cap with red light that puts red light on his head. He does all these things. He wears a little jetpack on his penis. They called it a jetpack, but it's like a thing to monitor his erections and stuff like that. It's like to give him the maximum ability to live the longest. This guy is a billionaire, 46 years old. I don't have the article up with his name. But it's like literally every element of his life is controlled by somebody else so he can live long. I'm like, well, screw that.
No, I just want to have a good time. When time's up, who cares? But
that's what some of these people are willing to go to that stake. They're willing to throw away all their personal freedom to escape death.
Well, that's the thing. There's no death. It's actually a life upgrade because you lose the meat suit and off you go. The ether's doing amazing things, First of all, you go and drink champagne.
These people are
with God.
atheists. They're obviously atheists. They're like, there's nothing when you die, and so I'm not going to die.
When you've gone over to the White Room and over to the other side, which I've done a number of times, because the feeling over there, you can never describe it. The love, the peace, you wrap those all up. It's just a feeling like overwhelming, like love. And you get over there. You think, well, why would you want to live here forever? We're in a classroom. Let's do our bit and then let's get out of here. But why would you want to live for 400 years? And clearly, it's all about the money and the power. It's nothing to do with
It'd only be the rich people getting to live that long or be immortal.
Yeah.
There's a show I like, and it's got its third season coming out called Upload, where people literally like decapitate their bodies when they die. Like, they literally zap their heads like into some digital format and put their self in a virtual afterlife instead of dying. Honestly, I think that they are working on things like that, but it'll be a copy of you. It won't be you. I don't think there's any way for them to do that with your soul. But anyways, the idea, and of course everybody has a bad time because in this virtual afterlife, you still have to pay for everything. Like nothing's free. Even you still have hunger. You want to eat. Well, you have to pay for it. It's like a nursing home forever. That you're going to constantly pay for.
Yeah, it's $2,000 a week.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. In the fifth dimension, there is no money. You don't need anything.
Well, they run out of data. Like your brainwaves cost money. Your thoughts cost money. And so when you think too much or do too much, you're using up your data. They put you in a data freeze like they do on your phone, and you're literally like frozen there in the virtual afterlife until you can get your free government stipend of data and get a few thoughts and then use it up, and then you're frozen again. That's how the poor people's afterlife is. While the rich people are like eating extinct rhino, like in this virtual afterlife. It just shows though what the extent that humans might do when they don't have spiritual ideas or thoughts of the afterlife. The extent that we have these rich billionaires all striving towards it. Transhumanism.
Absolutely.
Very fast. It's another one of those genies that come out of the bag we ain't going to be able to put back in.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you think about the technology advance since even the 82, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It's that advanced. And, I think a lot of the technology we don't even know about, but, it's probably way beyond our time. It's like giving the keys to a Ferrari to a 2-year-old, and that's why I think we're in this problem. because I don't think the human race
They
is
broke the
mature
prime
enough.
directive in Star Trek. They
Exactly.
always, had the prime directive. You don't want to give them technology or anything or influence a civilization. Obviously, we have some bad actors here that don't have a prime directive.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
that's at least the conspiracy theory that a lot of our technologies come from that. That would be bad if that's true. If we've gotten technology from aliens, then we've been violated as a species and civilization and progressed farther advanced than we should be right now. We didn't earn it. If that's the case, I think there's a lot of ingenious inventions though by humans. Tesla, for one, I think they channel things from the ether and come up.
Oh yeah,
like
it's
Da
all
Vinci and Tesla.
channeled. But if you channel it from the ether, you get the things at the right time. So little by little bit.
Right. But
Well,
that's
we
the
did have
point.
nanotech. Yeah.
But look at that's the point of like human civilization. When we were inventing the phonograph, there was multiple people that came up with the same ideas at the same time. It was coming into the consciousness to have that technology. But like the nuclear bomb, look at the Nazis. They were trying to get there. They didn't, thank God, but we did. And then once we did, everybody did. Well, not everybody, but there's still a lot of third world countries out there that are trying that. Dear God, if they get it, we're in trouble. But then the genie in the bag that's going to come out that is out of the bag is biological warfare. That's being committed upon us in multiple ways.
Well, it's all
that's
that.
the new
It's all
warfare.
related. Oh yeah, it's all related to nanotechnology, and the problem is the virologists and some of these chemists haven't seen these materials before, so they're kind of struggling, wondering how they work. I mean, I've known that nanospheres release, according to gigahertz frequencies at different frequencies, viruses because it's loaded with them, and these people are just coming out now. So, I think it might be releasing the Marburg virus. Well, if that happens, you're going to get a lot of zombies walking around with cerebral, cortex damaged.
I've had zombie nightmares. I wasn't a big horror fan for years, and I always get the zombie nightmares right before some big event. I did before 9/11, and other things, and they're always And I think it's not real. I'm not seeing some kind of future zombie apocalypse, but I think it's like symbolic because I feel like we have a lot of zombies right now walking around.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, go down to San Francisco and you'll see the drug problem down there, and they all look like a bunch of zombies. It's sad. It's really depressing. So many sad people that are in pain with these addictions and are, I mean, what a horrible way to live, on the street.
Yeah, it is. It really
addicted
is.
to drugs. Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see these videos of people. Because they're humans, people judge or laugh at it or whatever, but they're people. They're suffering, and they're suffering because we have big pharmaceutical companies that help shove this down the opioid crisis down our throat.
Yeah. But I think some of them as well. I think it's a way of coping to check out this world. They get high because, I think as a species we've failed because no one should ever feel like that. You know what I mean?
We're spiritually deprived.
Yeah, we're deprived. Well, society has gone south. They don't like what they're living in, and so they turn to drugs to try and get a hit for something, and it's not the way, but that's what people do. I mean, to me, the way is like, releasing emotion, get your vibration up, taking your power back, and getting in that like, wow, I feel amazing.
This is the way.
You can't beat it. God stuff. That's what it is.
Yeah, but that's what we need. We need a spiritual awakening in this country. Not only the populist movement to say, screw you to your authoritarian government BS that's just getting more and more outrageous, but a populist movement that's a spiritual awakening that has values that we can gather around. Doesn't matter what your religious background is. We can gather around some golden rules of values of humanity. Life is sacred, love each other, compassion, help others, do unto others as you wish upon to be doing. Simple things. And have a spiritual movement of that, and that the realization, no matter what your religion or idea, that there's something much bigger than us, that there's something much bigger to our soul. There is a soul, that we have a divine purpose, like something spiritual. And it does, I used to love Thich Nhat Hanh, and he used to tell people in his books that to go back, it's great you're interested in Buddhism, but I want you to go back to your roots too. I want you to look at your family's religious background and history and value it. There's something to value to that too. Many doors of the Dharma,
Oh yeah, and it's like divine purpose. If people do find their divine purpose, it's so exciting. You get passion about it because it's your gift. You don't even have to try for that gift. I mean, yeah, the healing had to learn it, and it took me about 4 years. And I was meditating and cause and effect and this and that. Because my belief is you can't just heal something by sending a bit of energy. You've got to understand how that virus or how that cancer tumor got there. And it's all about releasing emotion. It's all about getting rid of the pathogens. It's all about throwing the tumor. There's various things involved with it. It's not just one thing. So sending the tumor a bit of energy, it might make it feel a bit better, but it's not going to kill it off. You've got to get rid of the primary, secondary cause of every disease. It's like MS, Parkinson's, MS, Parkinson's, muscular dystrophy, almost all the same thing. What's it caused by? Well, Lyme disease. 99% of that is caused by Lyme disease. Why is that? Well, if you get Lyme disease, the co-infection like Epstein-Barr can get in like the vagus nerve, so it swells it because your immune's attacking it, so you get this random movement. It can get in the connective tissue, the muscles, ligaments, and tendons. Your immune attacks it and starts to break those down. Muscular dystrophy, and same with MS. It attacks the nerves, the Maiden sheath, and so things like that. If you understand what's causing it, you can eliminate it and heal it properly.
See, I feel like society, chronic disease, especially in America, is at such a height. So it is growing it is substantially growing compared to what it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We have so many people with chronic disease. And at some point, there's going to be a breaking point in our healthcare system and people's realization of what they're putting in their bodies, how they're being affected, that we got to do something. We have to change things radically because there's we're multiple toxins and pollutants that we are bombarding ourselves with, and we have to wake up to the fact that we shouldn't be this sick and ill.
And not to mention all the aluminum and everything being sprayed down from, planes for the seating and everything. We're completely full of heavy metals.
I mean, it's interesting. Well, from a past life, I've got loads of cysts on my head, like loads of them. You probably see one here. And every now and again...
My video quality is not that great.
Oh, right, okay. Well, it's kind of that. I don't need to see it.
There you go.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's loads of them. And anyway, I went to a surgeon. And it was just interesting because, I was going to get him to cut a few off, like 12 of them. So I go in and say, well, what pills are you on? And so now let me see. Nothing.
Nothing.
She goes, well, he must be on something. Nothing. I said, tell a lie. I'm on B complex and vitamin C. Oh, we're not interested in that. What pharmaceutical? I said, nothing.
Nothing.
She goes,
Same
you're
here.
kidding, are you? And I'm 61. I did get a discount this year. They said
but that is rare. Isn't that sad that that's rare? If you're 61-year-old, they expect you to be on some kind of pharmaceutical. They expect it because they've set up this system that requires everybody to eventually get some kind of disease. They're going to have to give back to the big pharmaceutical company that probably caused that disease.
Yeah, and then you take some tablets, and then you're going to get something else. You have to take tablets for that, and eventually people end up with 21 tablets, which is taking care of the symptoms of the symptom of the symptom. It's just, she was shocked. I've never come across anyone who's not on any pills at all. I said, well, that'll be me. And
hey, the Kool-Aid companies now have they're working on a myocarditis medicine for people. Wonder why.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just, it's ridiculous. I don't understand. Like, this is where I feel really alien, because to me, it shouldn't be a big conspiracy. You should be able to see it plain as day. You talk to anybody that's in their 80s or 90s and ask them, was there people that had this allergies or these diseases? No. It wasn't this rampant. There were diseases, and there's always been. And we've done things to eradicate them through many miracles of medicine. But at the same time, we've turned it into such a malfeasant industry to prey upon people and not care about quality control or long-term effects of what the products are giving, that they control the narrative, they control everything, they control this. I'm saying, like, we'll be demonetized for even saying Kool-Aid. I'm saying, like, they know, they listen to Voldemort, he hears it, they're Bill Gates. I'm saying, like, they know, and they're buying up our farms, they're buying up our food supply. They're trying to force us into this bubble of control. And like I said, it's got to be a breaking point where people have had enough and say, screw you.
Oh yeah.
I'm growing my own food. I'm checking out. We're doing our own thing, living off the land. Is there gonna be more people looking like they're Amish? They're not, but they're just like said, screw it.
Make it illegal to grow in our backyards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's been going on. Yeah.
Oh
They're
yeah,
also
it's
trying to
ridiculous.
kill
Well,
off
actually,
farmers.
they're trying to go after the Amish as well. I think. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think what we should all do is grow a long beard, put a wizard hat on, and go and sit in the woods and eat berries. But
Say,
but I'm
I'm
not
Amish.
definitely not
I'm
eating bugs.
Amish.
Yeah,
Everybody's gonna show up
absolutely.
like that's our. Me and my wife used to joke about that. Like before we even had kids and that. Like if things went to crap, we should have our Amish to go bags with like Amish
Absolutely.
costumes. Show up. Hello. We're from a neighboring town. We are Amish. Come let us live here. Like just show up like they did in that stupid movie of Tim Allen. I think it was. Like have it to go Amish bag. Like yeah, if we want to survive this apocalypse suddenly, we need to go pretend we're Amish and go join them.
Absolutely.
Amish bug out bag.
Amish bug out bag. And everybody, I would say that could make a lot of money selling the Amish get out bag. If your instructional book of how to pretend to be Amish, I do not want to offend any of my Amish people out there. I know they wouldn't be watching this, but still, I'm not trying to joke on it. I think, like I said, they got it right. And yeah, have your Amish to go bag.
Absolutely. Bless you all.
You got them right next door. You're ready to go.
Oh yeah. Well,
You
they're
made
building
friends.
houses. It's about 20 minutes away, but there's 9 of them, and when you turn up, they're smiley. They've got a beautiful energy about them, and I'm so excited that when they're building your own house and you've got that beautiful Amish energy, and you go there, it just feels great. Because no one's ever lived in the house, and the Amish are building it. It's to me, it's not about the house per se, just about the house. It's about the journey of watching it and the joy they put into it. That's the key for me.
It's amazing too if you watch them do it.
So
How
blessed.
they do
Oh
it.
yeah. It's amazing.
But yeah, and if you notice the other trend, I talk about these 15-minute cities. How many times you go on? I know you don't go on social media, but Jamie, you go on social media and look at this tiny house, look at this tiny compartmentalized thing. Like they're trying to promote the tiny house, tiny apartment, tiny living deal on people. And I'm not saying you have to have a huge mansion or anything like that. Live within your means and reason. I don't think if I won a ton of money, I'd want to live in a huge house. I wouldn't. I want enough, like my own little private studio. Yeah, sure. Man cave, sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But,
the minimalist lifestyle, like minimalism, bare nothing.
I could go for the minimalist thing if I'm out in the country and
But this
surrounded
is
by
like
nature. I'm all out, little
bare
small house. If my kids are growing up, me and my wife in the mountains in a small little cabin woods. I would totally do that. It's just me and my wife.
But it's more of like a motif too, like a style to where it's like everything looks sterile.
No, they want you to have the apartment that's in the Fifth Element. Remember the movie Fifth Element? Bruce Willis. He has that little like freaking apartment thing, like barely, like his bed and shower are like all mixed into the same cubicle. Like he has to roll. It has to turn around so he can take a shower, and turn around to sleep or something like that.
you
He gets
go.
cigarettes that are like that big out of a container that spews it out for him, and he's had his 3-puff limit or whatever. His life, and it's a downtown major futuristic sci-fi city, and all they can afford is a small little cubicle, and that's already happening. They're already doing that in New York and other cities.
They
They
have
have these
those little living quarters. Where
in Japan, they've been doing that for a while.
Oh yeah.
Like, who wants to live like that? Why do people want to live in big cities like that? And I mean, I like, I always thought I wanted to when I was young, move to a big city in the life, and I didn't take long for me to go, no, I'm not a country boy, per se, I'm not, but I do like the country, and I want to live in the country, and I guess I'm a country boy because I don't want to live in the city.
To each their own, but they're going to force us into this stuff, which isn't cool.
Not if we resist.
Exactly.
So for people that are in, go ahead.
I just think they've got to we've all got to take their power back. No, enough's enough, and I think it's going to happen. I think people are on a precipice where they've just had enough of the whole thing. I mean, if you've been doing this stuff for years, and you get it for many years, which I have, which you guys have, I think the whole, they call it trust the plan, watch the play, and it is a play. They've got puppets in place because they're just playing it out for the people, but. It does kind of get a bit old and embarrassing sometimes where I think, oh, come on,
Yeah, well, people fall.
We've now
people
kind of had enough.
Well, it's frustrating to watch people still fall for stuff, and more people are getting awakened, but then you still see the zombies, still going along with the mainstream idea and thought that's totally wrong.
Well, there's a certain element of people on this planet who will never get it. It doesn't matter you slap them 22 by 4s, 52 by 4s, look this, oh no, they'll just never get it. And that's okay, but I think there's a lot of people who are starting to really understand, like, there's something drastically wrong. It's like an economy. I mean, you don't need to go and get a degree in economy to know that, if you're borrowing money off a private Western central bank, with interest attached, which is the people's money, and they're lending it back to the country, then, with interest attached, there's going to be a problem, and it's not backed by anything. It's a petrodollar. It's a promissory
That's
note.
in very dangerous territory right now.
Oh, yeah.
We've done everything wrong that we could possibly do wrong to screw the petrodollar, which, that's the thing. That's what I said about, like, hey, I'm all for green energy, but you know how much our dollar depends on that oil, that gas? Big time. Big time.
Oh, yeah.
There's never been an actual interest in ending it.
It's electric. Oh, no. I mean, it's electric. It's just out of your sight because it's the power stations using gas, oil, nuclear. They haven't got a wind, system that's good enough. They haven't got...
They don't have an electric vehicle that's good enough to actually ship things across the road.
And if we use that unit that Tesla's got, where it just takes energy from the ethers all day, every day, and it can run a car forever, they're about this big, they've got the technology, because I know one of our contacts at the top of the military's seen it, and he said you could literally plug your house in. It's got no moving parts. It just works and forever, and gets energy out of the ethers. So
if people had those devices, they could literally go off the grid, live where they want, out in the middle of nowhere, have the power that they need, and tell the government to go screw themselves. So that's why we don't have it.
Oh, exactly. Because we don't need to drill for oil.
I mean, Tesla was trying to do that. And he was it J.P. Morgan? Like he lied. He lied about his was it Warren? Or what was the name of his facility? He lied about what he was using it for because he knew Morgan would shut him down. Because free energy? Yeah, no. I'm making a lot of money.
No, we're not. Well, it's J.P. Morgan who basically stole all Tesla's stuff when he passed away. So we'll save that for a rainy day. Later stuff, technology, but not enough now because I got to make money off a bunch of people. And then you have Rockefeller. This is the men who founded America, right? Yeah, Rockefeller, who basically went and turned the whole medical system into a big pharmaceutical system.
Yeah,
wanted to get rid of natural remedies and.
Oh yeah, they were part of the Archon Covenant. Give them pills, make them sick, and give them more pills, and contaminate the food and all this sort of thing. They're doing it.
But there's been times in history where we pushed back against these things, and we have, and been successful in history in America. We've pushed back against Wall Street and that. We've had those moments, but they seem to come back with 2 times the force.
With vengeance. Oh yeah,
yeah,
and it's a lot deeper. I mean, I don't think people will ever realize how deep this deep state place is. But, little by little, it's been broken down. You can't do it overnight. There's too many people involved. But you can break it down over a period of time. And I think it's happening. I really do. So
it does seem like things have changed, that there's more things are being revealed that I never thought would, that'd be more in the public conscious than I ever thought would be in the public conscious. If you would ask me 10 years ago to be talking about half the stuff in the media that they do, I would have not have believed you.
No.
I wouldn't have believed it. And like I said, and it comes from, like, I say it's a snowball effect. Like, they can say they have disclosure and give us little tidbits, but it doesn't matter. You've started it. It's going to open up the doors of the question, just like Jeffrey Epstein. They can kill him off and hide it away all they want, but the ball's rolling downhill, and it's gathering steam, and people are questioning more and more about what is going on behind the curtains.
Oh yeah, all the Bidens there, and so they're getting all the little by little. I think they do it little by little, not to shock people, because a lot of it's shocking.
Like I said, it's too complicated. The whole thing is way so complicated that they couldn't just disclose it all in one shot. There's just no way.
No.
And I think they filter it in our fiction and do things to kind of prep us and get the consciousness to a spot they want it at, which might not be good. They do it through our media. The end result, I don't know, but I fear something along the lines of Black Mirror. If people don't start waking up, 15-minute cities and I mean, Elon Musk is looking for people to be volunteers to put chips in their brains now. Now they're past the monkey trials. Transhumanism, all these things that could just totally radically transform us. AI, completely transform civilization. I mean, look how much we've changed in the last 30 years because of the internet.
Oh yeah, completely.
I mean, it's got its good things. It's got like us doing the show, but then it's got its bad things. Smartphones,
I think the worst thing,
internet. Yeah.
The worst thing I think with a smartphone is people get so addicted to it. All they do all day is hold the phone.
Is on their
and look
phone.
at it. So communication is kind of breaking down. I see it all the time.
I go to my kid's karate. I go to my kid's karate class because I enjoy watching him, and I'll be noticing all the other parents are there on their phone. I'm like sitting there watching him. That's what I'm here for. Why are you on your phone? Or they're having an annoying conversation in the background. It's like I'm hearing, shh. Kids are doing serious martial arts stuff here.
Or you get families like sitting around, like four of them, the kids and the mother and father, and they're all on their phone. And, you can see they're almost like texting each other, and they're next to each other, like, well, what do you think of the food? It's just like, come on.
Like having conversations with the phone, even though they're right there in front of me. Me and my wife joke about that. If I'm downstairs and she's upstairs and she texts me something, I'm like, oh, we've fallen. You're going to come downstairs to tell me you had to text me. I've been guilty of it, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a quick way, especially when you're trying to tell each other something you don't want the kids to hear. It's like we're like looking at each other. Yeah. Don't let them hear that. But yeah, I know. I was guilty of it tonight. I was on my phone at the dinner table, which I try not to be, but I was like re-editing the World Wide Web of Weird because I had the Satanist being in the Ukraine ambassador story come up and other things. I'm like, oh, I got to get this edited, and I feel bad afterwards. I'm like, you're supposed to be mindful eating, right? Mindful eating. Paying attention, have that family dinner time. Yeah, my wife didn't yell at me tonight. She doesn't yell at me on Sunday nights if I do it because she knows I'm like working on show stuff because I get off of work and I'm trying to get it done. But any other night, if I had my phone up there, she'd be like, put that away.
I used to be so bad at that. And when I used to do all the different groups and everything, for 3 years now, I never pick up my phone while I'm eating. If I'm in front of a live person while I'm talking, whether I'm doing something or not, I always put the phone down. I stop what I'm doing and engage with the person in front of me. Completely changed my ways because I was in it really bad.
And now the phones are going to be your AI best friend. You can have your AI best friend or a girlfriend or boyfriend on there. It'll talk to you and reassure you and be your best friend. You don't have to have human interaction, not at all. Siri's here for you.
Well, they can even pick up thoughts, thought patterns, and
Oh,
you think about, I want to agree.
ladies are definitely listening. They're definitely listening
yeah.
because you say something, you go on Facebook or Amazon or whatever, and it's like popping up exactly what you're just talking about. You can turn all the filter settings you can. They still listen. We ran out of time. I told you I'd only give you 2 hours. You only want to do 2 hours a night, which I understand, and I got to get up early tomorrow, so I'm going to let you go. I will get your PR stuff to Josh Turner because you should definitely go on Paranormal Roundtable. Again, we'll have to get you back on the show another time, too. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thanks for having us. It's been wonderful. Bless your heart.
And just everybody go out, check out www.globalenlightenmentproject.com. That's his website. You got your 2 weekly meditations you do for everyone, and then you can look into one-on-one healing with Christopher. That is it for the show. We will be back next week, same bad time, same bad channel, with guest Barbara With. She is a psychic channel. We'll find out more about her next week, same bad time, same bad channel, Sunday night, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Central, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. 11 p.m. Pacific time. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Keep telling your friends about Paranormal Soup, where the weird happens live every Sunday night. And thank you to all those who do the donate on Super Chat on YouTube or donate on Patreon. Thank you, Zach. Thank you for your donation, up your donation recently. Thank you so much. Helps pay the bills. Thank you to all my Patrons. I literally got to pay the bills for the show yearly, and they're coming up. So if it wasn't for your guys' donations, I wouldn't have the money probably to pay for it. So thank you so much. It really does help. All right, guys. See you next week. Have a great night.